ever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is...
The people of the Gold Coast had had their own assembly under the British, but not independence. In 1957, they became the first black Africans to get complete freedom. Leaders from East and West came to Accra to see the handover. Vice President Nixon represented the United States. He arrived with a delegation that included civil rights leader Martin Luther King.
A new order is coming into being, and an old order is passing away. It seems to me that this is fit testimony to the fact that eventually the forces of justice triumph in the universe, and somehow the universe itself is on the side of freedom and justice.
The British were proud of the peaceful nature of the transfer.
For Dr. Nkrumah, main architect of Ghana's independence, this is a day of fulfillment. The longing to be free, the need to be free, these are part of the rightful heritage of man, a heritage denied.
Well, Mama, good evening. I'm Mama Kwaba. This was just to give you an idea of said you no mood no etie Independence Day 1957. Good evening, you. Good afternoon, so share your America, and a good evening and come my Europe before I also share your friends at Danfupa Media and in Naspa Radio, UK, Abuchimemu Kuku, especially in the team. So every broadcast, so more America, so any Canada, and so for live or high live radio, and Kings Jersey Radio, New York and New Jersey. And Virginia. Indeed, Mama, good evening, Mama Kwaba. Me got you FM so pick a live or cooking to me. And then just you made. And then so happy independence. 67 years. What's your topic now? You're there to one now. Ghana at 67. Ghana at 67. The end in a Ghana for the day. Any more and say Yamaye holiday. Any or more the baby watupa. Or more the baby Guinness. Omo the baby beer the no club no me ade ombe ombe party akese. But the major issue no any topic na e dey ato no Ghana at 67 there na issue yako pension ye your man at age 67 no yako pension. Ghana life expectancy rate osha emaye 68 emaye 65 nti man ni kakra cha emema enti with this age no na just say ye koye wuo mu ano no a by now Ghana should have a will. As for mine, by now Ghana must have a will. Ghana because we must have a will. A bet as for mine, dear na yedi jayema. Busamo say Ghana or mine, dear pa, and as for mine, what dear na yedi jayema? Oh my Ghana, what are we leaving to our children? Nothing. What are we leaving to our children? A dear na yedi jayema. 67 years. And yema Nkrumah jama ye bini Black Star Line and my bet na hanama kan wasem. Black Star Line shipping company and no na nke shipping Ghana and yema bia in fact around West Africa because Ghana na a first African country. West Africa, black African country in the sub-Saharan Africa to get independence. No? Ghana yena a control trade in the West Africa area, even to most parts of Africa, your control trade. And the ship will be back on Nigeria, back on Sierra Leone, all the way to South Africa. Maybe Papa no is seaman. Ghana any a control Black Star Line ne udu tema a dina dane adaketo. Companies are a shipping line a imo for MOL, omo temahabo. Max Line, omo temahabo. They make most of the money that Max Line make it in Africa for Ghana. Ghana ye cocoa ye do kwa brochire Ghana ye cash cow cocoa. Max Line for na shipping ye cocoa. Just say ye be a foreign companies Black Star Line ye guno. This is Ghana at 67. We have collapsed Black Star Line now. In Nkrumah starting on the two ships na starting here. Two ships no kofa Israeli managers. And I know another company na no Israeli managers. And another company na no. Yadima ko bibinia ye gu Black Star Line no. Afe Ghana shipping companies a shipping company no nanka apart from Black Star Line, no said yes our dry dock. It was the only dry dock in West Africa. E watema shipyard e watema. Inti ship bia say wo Africa hanoma na Ghana no mo ba ni yesi dry dock. The only dry dock in West Africa. Ghana pe and na ye wo. Me wo me watema ti minim tema asem. The dry dock na Nkrumah ma and white elephant. Tema boys na mho nya adwuma nya wi no mo hye. One pay adwuma bi ama o nti boys no de o mbenya di wi e na obi ahye wi. Guess ni nyina kra hye wi. Dry dock me ya kola kra ye wo me a. Me papa se me kwa me ba na tema kra agu no. Enu po no me beto dry dock na me brothers ni me uncles no mpanifo bebre ye adwuma o dry dock. Dry dock na gu. The dry dock, only dry dock. The whole West Africa ship bia Ghana na ye service. No wakasi gum. Even though the when you crack you fast forward 2004 at project before time. Habo ho sheye. Some Easter Friday bi. Habo ho no sheye sa dry dock no. Ni nom pe kakra aka no kra shika ho. Dry dock e shika ho. Vako a esi wonu ma Nkrumah time. Omu si akoso mono no omu ye vako no. So that akoso mono company the same kinds of company no me akoso mo down ne maye no. Omo no mo ye vako no maye. So Akoso Mono was eventually supposed to service Valco. Valco was employing half of Tema. Valco negu. Akana nesen 3 and the sisu work Valco. Valco negu. Meme ya kola kwa ya wo me a me buy. Valco was controlling Tema. Uyi Valco, uyi Tema oil refinery. Uyi Gapoha. Ghana Ports and Abos Authority. Uyi Tema shipyard. Now why Pioneer Food. Pioneer Food Cannery. No, I say you more bakubi. Yeah, better. You're not my friend Gafco, but my father said there was a name. I'm gonna your poultry feed. And son, yes, I will Esam company. I'm gonna supply Esam Emma a man or pan winina Esam Temanesi GMC no near there. And I be so takradi a go takradi and Tema a go. The meanwhile, Tema before Crown Nkrumah si Temano, ya pamo Tema for way Tema obia onim Tema mahia. Tema asem nkranfo a Tema asase ne yo mo dia no di mabakose mo ye nka ye se articulate am o kan o Tema Newton ye babu oku. Tema Nkrumah had to forcibly acquire the land to build the harbor, and the harbor negu. Gapo Accra, they are struggling to survive. And yes, Gapo because you see Terminal 3 no adwuma ni bebre akodi MPS. Ye Terminal 3 no what Tema containers akese nani nyina kodoke what MPS. Enti Gapo ano as the landlord a own check Temano and Gapo didi and Katema boy si nyina beni adwuma ye no. Me akola kra me brothers in pen for me brother na mate na dan for brebo mu nyina mu wie from 5 na dey mu nyina habo na oboko wo ye dem wotema wa nya hwe anya wo ko habo kra wo bedidi agu ni nyina agu Meridian Hotel na temasi ye no me kire Ghana at 67 no for what din ko we nya banku ni tilapia na mu di ne no party na mu ye no there's nothing to celebrate about Ghana 67 years old. There is absolutely nothing. We should be ashamed of ourselves. Ghana countries in anyway, Ghana ni Nigeria, yeah, the whole Africa, yeah, no Kawasi a ferry, Korea Namibia, na Korea Botswana. We should be ashamed of ourselves. Ghana ni Nigeria, the whole Africa, these two countries, we should be ashamed of ourselves. In Nkrumah Juma, we are big 6 for no. Look at the excitement and no money at J. That's a man and Nkrumah or Independence Square Hono. The black man is capable of managing his own affairs. Oh, yeah, you see the liberation of Ghana is linked to the total liberation of Africa. And that's the independence now Ghana is nothing unless it is linked to the whole of Africa. And Africa then they produce social media cry you consuming go for the TikTok by a China for the creative. Yet Yanam na Mark Zuckerberg small boy, free to mobile eco creative Facebook. That's where we all are. Africa, we haven't been able to even create a common platform. Say Africa TikTok, Africa Facebook. We haven't been able to create it. They're done the consumers to the point that $200 million worth of and a Ghana you imported from Vietnam, Singapore, China, Malaysia, engu ya one wo kede. Uko kede sesi ya don't go Uko kede sesia enwo ye de bebo zomi na ope anase enwo pa anade yache anase de ni enwo bia ope bi agreke enwo de ni nyina bi wo ho enso enne Ghana ye importing over $197 million worth of engo from Malaysia. Read my lips again. Engo ye importing from Malaysia. Ye nyale. On my way, ye nyale. Are we not a disappointment to ourselves? We are a big disappointment to ourselves. Ye importing garlic, ye importing. May you know garlic ye importing garlic. And those, you see, MP GMO Ghana, ya fight ya GMO, no man from Ghana. But Burkina Faso ya GMO, ni asa tuka, ni ako Burkina, ni ako importing in those. GMO in those from Burkina near the other. Jade ye importing from Burkina. 67 years of aquadro, 67 years of failing to think, 67 years of doing the need, failing to do the needful, 67 years of abroni beye. That is what we should be celebrating. Abro, 67 years of shame. Obianka say Ghana has not made progress, but the fact that we were the leaders in Africa in 1957, we were leading the pack. And then Botswana beye Ghana. And then the United Nations for reti amaya. Omuye well to do uko the whole world Scandinavia for the kind. Norway, Denmark, Finland, Sweden. Over Africa, Botswana and the kind, followed by Namibia. Where is Ghana? We were the first to get independence. Factories in Kra and Kromani Bexits of way. Omujama and Professor Kwatiwaha. You don't know your history, Professor Aparatiki Wabing. Factories in Kra, ye Jama, ye Yagunu. Ye their politics. Rollins by Obete diversity implementation committee say young town factories no. Young town factories no. Ya town factories no. Ya town factories I say ya town dia eco private sector be ye. Ba on Ghana for ye suba money na yan sanity no. Ya ko aban company ye gu factories no. Rollins ma ya town ye de ma private sector still ya guno. Ya guno. Gihok. Enya Kofi Jumano ni ade na omaba Gihok kra omo feche Gihok career egu. It is the only companies I ton ya ejina ni na so ne oba kema me am GTP bebre nim say that company GTP no that for na ebo ya ne ye GTP na ye ntoma no yet Ghana na ntoma ye be fra that for na control ntoma ye be fra African textiles African print that for na ye ntoma no Dumas no edini Dumas na ye Ghanaian name edini Dumas is a Dutch name Busa Jocelyn Dumas no ka so di Dumas no say edini no e Dutch for di wo na bebo ani na ye de yes African print as Holland for na ye African print no mai enne ayi no kra GTP no aka 300 workers no ya to woni say GTP e Burkina for kra na omato Ghana for kra to be ato Burkina for ya guno abroni beye because woni ya Ghana ni no obeboa ma GTP na ye no ono akasa de ntoma na ko China ko twa fake abegum the obedient. This is what Nkrumah was fighting against. A bro mindset no. Sa na yedi tu Nkrumah. E ka Ghana for ye ti anum say enya abra kotoka ye di nidia to airport so. Kotoka na oni e free fire one no mu mienu tu Nkrumah no. Ye di nidia to airport no so. Na enya abra. Nipa mienu aye ku atu Nkrumah. E free fire ye shoot no. Kotoka de mu di nidia to airport so. It's an insult to Nkrumah. It's an insult to Nkrumah na yet why ye say ye pen Nkrumah semwama and a Ghana freedom and our Sajefo and this is what your Nkrumah is CPP is what your Nkrumah is BNC is what your Nkrumah is and so nobody has the balls to even talk against the fact that your airport is named after somebody who overthrew bloody Nkrumah or overthrew and Nkrumah is not bloody the ever revered Nkrumah but onu kotokano to Nkrumah needing the airport so Onu kotokana otu Nkrumah no ni din the airport so the Nkrumah jama ene egu it's an insult to Nkrumah that every day we fly or airport I be catch us airport a friend kotoka international airport that day bia no Nkrumah dies every day bia e bebodi now to play mu na bagana ladies and gentlemen welcome to Kotoka International Airport nonsense welcome to Nkrumah Airport name it after Nkrumah welcome to Osajefo Airport. Welcome to Ghana Airport, Kwame Nkrumah Airport. Name it after Osajefo. If we have any boss, any respect for Nkrumah, if we have any last respect, be the people Nkrumah. Name the airport after Nkrumah. Name the airport after Nkrumah and stop praising Obia Wabeku Nkrumah. He already history now. He overtook him. Yeah, no, Kotokaye Kuno. Sa Afina Nkrumah man o promotino. Or promoting to Lieutenant General the same year no to Nkrumah. The same year no to Nkrumah, because in 1965 Kotoka ye transfer no koye I think Central Regiment Battalion Kumasi, and that was why he became friends with the Free Fire. When people try to do tribal politics or Ghana tribe politicians now say Ghana neke one Kotoka ofi tefle oseden Nkrumah a Free Fire if you krobo mampon, and so they were best of friends, and the two of them and I'm planning kuno. Operation Code Red said that was the name they gave the operation between Nkrumah. I am say cool, they cool, something cool, we did this. That was the code name of Operation between Nkrumah, and they overthrew Nkrumah. May Kwaba no more to know. The same year, no, ye two Nkrumah. The same year Kotoka was promoted. That same year he was promoted. That is how I had dreams here. And then you're sorry, I need to say any don't Nkrumah. And Nkrumah had his own excesses, which is now to be declared home president for life. You should expect people to fight you. People must have an opportunity to speak their mind. And again, social media that is democracy. That is the democracy. Ghana 57. Martin Luther King came to Ghana and they said Ghana is the beacon of hope. In fact, it didn't Black Star Line no quite to your ship. So no America for civil rights activists for no. Time almost started so almost fight that was even 67. And before no class 65 near more to about America. 65 allow to be part of the democratic system because slavery was at the peak. And they leading to America for a civil war no more and Ghana no, we were supposed to be the beacon. Save the whole Africa in Ghana. 99% of your oil no your gold no and your cocoa na abrofu the control cocoa price. Yabakwa kwaji syndicated loan na yakoyela la sula la ni abrofu na baba yes oh yabama mu gold yabama mu cocoa mu my price say. That is why I'm saying you can't say you any Cote d'Ivoire for your back so that we can control the pricing of the cocoa. Because all these years, you know, Ghana, any Cote d'Ivoire, we are the leading producers of quality cocoa throughout the world. We don't determine the price. Barry Calibo for any Danish for Belgium company, they are one of the biggest consumers of chocolate. Sweden normally they control the prices of cocoa. No? They control 67 years of what do you call 67 years of independence. So that's what it means. What him say over the last 8 years, according to researcher Dr. Dusa Akodiemo, University of Ghana, Economics Department, Ghana, your gold, any your oil, no, abroad and fast when this is profit after tax. And me abro no man go, but one am here campaign with the NDC near BPH, Shirado, the anyone no, we are not speaking to the facts. But I'm bet you bet na be attempt na the action. Na heden. Ye di attempt still Ghana. Over the last 8 years, you know, gold ni oil nko cocoa buy, ever cocoa ntunchen. Gold and just oil. And for so profit after tax abroad for no making $42 billion. $42 billion. And then my name opening back could be an over Nkrumah time. My name is Castle Germany, Mr. Dakon. And watch them say, even a champon bre, I see a champon wabon, a champon co school, a champon ye cratchet, a champon managed to plant. And then yet one abroad for the LGBT squeezy your boss. The mian and ado show, the mian and ado touch it. On to me, ye mian a show, and then in touch it. On man I am ready. One man I am ready. Ye mian bibia, but what they want. You don't need anybody to squeeze your balls. What they want. We cannot even manage cocoa. Cocoa keke no. This year and last year, cocoa F1 cocoa production F1 below 500,000 metric tons. We are for what didn't cost us anyway. So that is how shameful we have become. 67 years of less than 1 million tons of cocoa production. Yeah, more than 67 years of independence. We could not even deliver 1 million tons of cocoa. We couldn't do it. Then a President Kufuor ye wanya magical. President Kufuor see and set up cocoa gangs. Mon cocoa spray cocoa ni so. We couldn't do it. Now doka say galamsey e affect cocoa. Akuafo bebe to twa mu cocoa ndi o mas ensase na ma galamsey for no mo ye galamsey. Until he will risk his presidency to even save cocoa no when to me anye. He couldn't do it. 67 years of our brony beye destroying our own nation. Destroying our own nation. 67 years. Oh, doing independence. No one sana ye kono. And then ye atupa ye kobu and then no ma ye kobo. Ghana independence. Adane san any atupa any chele. No. For I been cocoa no. Fernando Po tete kwashi kwaji bre ye ambreo ye san kan ye na yanka. Yankoya research biya ni ko develop cocoa no. Enya scientific project biya ni koya so we are cross breeding species to create the cocoa seed. We didn't do anything. Ami anwa. And I knew about papa a teta kwasha fan or the brain or the brain near the cocoa now cocoa no so I to me so we could not even get to 1 million metric tons of cocoa. Yeah, independence. 67 years of Enuguasie. We could not even get 1 million tons of cocoa. This is the time I can see a co-president go forward. We are in the day now to me cross over 1 million tons of cocoa. No, we are in the day. You're crossing 1 million tons of cocoa. There's a cocoa warehouse or Tema 23. 65,000 tons of cocoa storage in Watema. And then cocoa boys in any money. Boys are not swaswa cocoa. Ubatema boys who need to macra uncle fap on my warehouse. Who made a cocoa aswa, ammonia, the obedi there for the day. Only girl be any Mabena, the other cocoa, Namagano. I'm at this all the chop money. And they begin one. You're gonna 67 years of independence. That's what it means. 67 years of independence. Yeah, crack and more major quiet Kashiga. I say I'm banning a more than a Bapano crack only a dine no. Major correct Kashiga because in Crawford Mokofa and money ban mafia. Yeah, does it even make sense to you? Say in this day and age, Nibiabe, Ghana imported a more over $200 million worth of a more. Does it make sense to you? Yet to me, Niamoha. Abraham Honorable Fuseni, former NDC Minister for Lands and Odiamo Upper East. Odiamo Upper East. Odiamo, Zoom Lion, the Zoom Lion Odiamo. We cannot even manage our own affairs. You go Nkrumah. And this is what the Nkrumah said. The black man is capable of managing his own affairs. It told to me said, Nipa waiting me living up to Nkrumah vision. No, a champion. A champion they see down so man. Yes, one go school. School now moko enya na ye den. Ya bro for no BS your law. O BS your law. Law I am defend you here for no. Ye do o magu nsawom na ye ndi o masem no. Enipa egu nsawom according to Legal Aid Commission. E mo 50 to 51% ye o mo ni conviction. Ye ndi na sem ye ba ato no tren nsawom and the person is rotting in jail. E be ne boy bi anano me ne kasa ya ne tumasi. Rape. Yes wa akodi akola bi. Mistake on me in court records no more recorded kekeno. Akodemu 8 years. And na crowd ban compensation once the po. Ya farm boy no what me send message if you make me mo ma pe kakra send no. That is how corrupt 67 years of independence. No justice. No justice. Obi asuan law buklong na ye no. E ke enya buklong no poni e fa mo ayen crop for there bi. Ye de buklong obi ape parliament akotena. Obi ape president edi. Book long no aye and we are not doing book long to solve Ghana's problem. Say the champion a champion co school bia. Eti na ya me ya say we shot a champion station shooting range and a Ghana for no we were jubilating. We were jubilating. You shoot to a champion. We were jubilating. A champion who no mean a no. Nipa wa besi down so man township abayen. Ababe operation feed yourself. Ghana ni exporting a more eco Burkina. You exporting a more I feel the drumre bia 83 ni 85 na Ghana yes and more yellow corn and ukanya mo papa yellow corn and yes na yedi yes yellow corn na yedi. This is Ghana na 67 years of celebration. What are we celebrating? What are we celebrating? What are we celebrating in Ghana? 67 years of what are we celebrating? It's a shame. It's a shame to us. Say you imported garlic, you imported a fish. Let me show you the list. Me na person me don't call list in. And this is why na make us say Martin Luther King no many ade nyina came to Ghana no. They came to show us we are with you Ghana. Mundi kaina mu nuanom Africa for na aka no should just follow you. But then ye kogu ye ni mase. Ye ko gu ye ni mase. Ghana na ye de abetena ha. Still I yet ya na ye keka brofo. Keka brofo sa. Keka brofo sa. Look at this one. Your biggest country are importing and never free China. Now I'll take you to Prosaquati and a year of COVID quantities. I will look at history. Because you might be one of my youth, you know, and was see a swing, the acting maybe as yes, you may say I'm not the action. You may say ya near the action. Nkuma vision away. A champion, and the one who did his best, which moves a passion, commitment. I profess you a champion, one bit to a mind. Into 1 year, one come back to civilian rule. I am supporting my champion to hell with you. I don't care about you. You be a doctor near China and pass with champion, make sure say, despite a much despite complain at least. No, I see a friend saying, down so mine. No, I operation feed yourself. We were able to at least internally the manufacture and then Lebanese ni Syria for and acquire mafia for more important and more and now frozen foods. And now we checking me at the end 90% of it Lebanese for the Syria for company almost winter so they control it. Now because of bribing your politicians, you'll be able to stop it. That is why I courage Kwashiga. The time where I say, young banning for importation of rice. Nagana ya muyendi and also I'm China Papa you better die. They will remove you because of Bipe, Sikam Wadi, or we are the Sasana Koto East Lego on the dime, or the Biaka Koto Airport Hills and die, a brownie bay of Kobe Biniganelli, a bro. Yetianum, a Botswana for Omo gold, new Omo oil, a 50-50-80-80. Botswana, they don't even have gold saying Omo diamond Omo, but contract beyond Bessa in Libya, 80% for the country, 20% for all foreign company. No Ghana, ne, your oil, woman, so pick your oil, kept 3 points. Any keta basin, shopping edge. Yes, Omutia, see, I said that ye. Yeah, gold company, a profi, and I make sure over the last 8 years. And for so profit in Kwa Brofu companies are Omutu oil, Omutu gold, Omania 48 billion. Yaman Kai, University of Ghana Research. Politician BIS on say on every moment LGBT assembly. One politician be ordinary parliamentary vim as I can about a Brofu company sending the money that they are making. Because when you have 10% more, so nobody will have the balls to go and stand in parliament and fight this Abrofu. Say they are making more money than the Ghanaians. And they are making more money for their citizens. Ghana for. No, they will not go and say it. Only the film never come with LGBT so. But we Nigeria for call passing LGBT law. Nigeria for almost celebrate this from here popular no LGBT for. More internet so. TikTok na go Nigeria for. As soon as you risky no near now. Woman no hear the most popular people. Nigeria LGBT law no. You who say we are LGBT 14 years na be ko jail. Omo chi obi a ho. The here no mo creative jobs wa. And I'm creating jobs. Road, my road near the Angamu and I am the LGBT asem. I know Brony Biasu nya that jam the LGBT asem. Katani do and Singapore, be a LGBT asem mamu. Make us say Singapore. Yama sika abane ma say $3,000 so said obia upese usia AI abane de che of koda AI because so much not say in the next 20 years AI intelligence computer IT will take over the world into kosuya nenya skills no and sana 20 years no grab abeto Ghana the heading it one and kwasi asem sa excuse my French say munu sa na de action impoverishing the youth na yazama even to the sense ya say youth no adwene baby a youth no ka say adwene ko hono there be you to be up 200 Ghana di wo NDC ni MPP ho o wi akofa motorway no apoto oguso no na wasa ye video no abesu also the 200 Ghana city wo politics NDC ni MPP ho Kofi Kra to 200 Ghana city so ni bi ntonto ma no abro enka den na ka unim se nipa we obeboa wo nipa we wo vision ma wonto ma no because who pay 200 Ghana cities agiedi opinion no ma be Ghana cities oh bi a check ti ndi om de ba ginedi o de ba giedi no ba be famo me no be famo to we ni so before be mo na mo so we na dan trotro nkroma kra ye moto we na ti say and ne moto we na dan trotro adan trotro potholes ma boom 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 from Temakosi Accra ubedi 4 hours from motorway roundabout to Tema ekosi the wenya ubedi 10 hours bitani osabute non kantro ubedi 10 hours from motorway roundabout to Tema ekosi the wenya and Central University ubedi 10 hours sick country 67 years of sickness ya yari ya ko pedro no ya yari omani ye wo BP ye wo diabetes. It's a sick country. Nobody is ready to solve the problems of Ghana. Ye ped yam konkwa yen cheni endi. In fact, Nkrumah ba one of the accusation kotokan eye kuti and Nkrumah no. Omo say or you're corrupt. I'm saying Nkrumah you're corrupt. There was even as far back as Saturday 66 no. Omo say you're corrupt. The 26th February no me yeku no mutu Nkrumah no. Remove Nkrumah from there. And I quite then you removing Nkrumah no as if said I was going to solve the problem. Ye Nkrumah na ne ma kotoka promotion. It's a what to president am why promotion. And ye ma Nkrumah promotion. Na me ka se Nkrumah no nye ni bibia na ye righteous ah. Wo de Nkrumah toto Mandela ho a. Mandela when declare no president for life. That was Nkrumah mistake. Declare no president for life. Obi anka bi. Why inactive Prevention Detention Act. Just a bonnet no nya ye kra wo ya chew. Ye hwe wo mama so wo say wo ye bonnet for na ya chew ye do ko. Ye be chew am akodem. And LGBT law you can say so be answer na ya chew. Ban Nkrumah de o say there be one ye bonnet ne kra ye preventive law ye be chew am akodem in sawom. And a lot of the people and the opponents they died in sawom for doing nothing because Nkrumah falls. And Nkrumah so I think sometimes you see if you put it in perspective you can understand Kaka because Nkrumah no more fighting Nkrumah from 54 even 1948 no more fighting Nkrumah before the activism started here. In fact and then at a Kennedy Troll article be on this Sunday me about the kind of struggle that started even before Nkrumah buy because the struggle for independence and one day there was a struggle long before Nkrumah came but Nkrumah was the catalyst. Nkrumah was the litmus. We needed Nkrumah to take it over to the next level. Once I obi one my elections here I ko ni ade nyina wo de o hwa party for ni one we ade dada but you need something. You need something that will take you to the threshold. They needed Nkrumah. And that was where the deviation came. Mami fan call export na tamatwa Nkrumah term. See China and the biggest importer. Ghana ye importing Niema from China. $322.4 million worth of Niema and you imported from China. 67 years of import. Yes, you any China when I start you. In fact, you any Korea and I started here Ghana. We were at par with Korea. Yeah, now your classmates in Africa, Ghana. Now your classmates in Africa. Hey, see I'm 67 years. Who your brother? You should cry. When the 20 years who the end is in the MVP, now you are chopping your own future. You are now Ghana ya and I can 67 okay and go to one and I guess nam a TikTok pan near Tony girl I bet not TikTok even the education system no quite a problem. Now girl I bet not TikTok I hear near goodness no was no more than a tongue actually bear much just a bear man be dance and with a bro could answer on certain buso just a bear man who be dancer on my and the men in Adania show on my and the men in Adania show wait 67 years. 67 years. You can no one out on toast no body any other. Mr. Tema, because factories ni go into to what you jump cry to. Ko work see, omo bass be so no be a bed, you know better, we are better, seminar near deco. And then Unilever, doom so by Unilever, factories in your mogul. Unilever push up factories in Nigeria. They say only one factory pet Unilever factory back open a waterman, a kiso. Because fright or cry, you didn't live a fast. I must have let you. Omdi amobi and a company, but India company, you more come to 3. Omo na no fright or no. Emma Unilever, doom sonti a brody bay of this country. Now 67 years near 67 years of independence. 67 years. What are we independence about? Now America forcing 400 years of independence. I compare America. Omo crowds inflation 9%. America force soup. Now, yeah, there are 67 years of independence. What are we celebrating? We should be crying. Yeah, you may see a classmate in Korea, your G independence. Your classmate, you to meet Tamsika, Equatorial Guinea, Ghana, no. You to meet Tamsika, Egypt. We were loaning monies to Egypt, loaning monies to Equatorial Guinea, and the Ghana, Akola. Yeah, made me as less as IMF, anywhere bank. Near Omomaya, who conditionalities. Because I come dear until I see a dear who was shebroni ase no tray ya mamre or no brony no be catch so worry two and go be grant to on my fine boy or no crowd when you crown 6-pack nice guy and Professor Kwati nice man when Professor Kwati when you do not swag fine man I can't compare a guess better than 4 and mechanic you don't know whom my home so the young population wo de be me na wo fe wa ben mu knowledge ni nani se tena mo manko a mu wu bebre mayen wo ti ase mu wu bebre mayen broni no be ka kire se wo ware mienu ni miensa enye no no na ke control ye yi nka AC kura nka no so ne HIV ekosoro HIV kosoro enne HIV ekosoro HIV ekosoro broni na ase enne de o mo obi akwan na obi anye fa wo fa hyehye na ma besia de fa wo fa hyehye abra mema wo mo mkrenya gesi bi wie e mema no krenya tokro ni bi nwram e fa wo na wo mra me say what is America for na Britain for wo makọ kata akoka rainbow colors cry ye bo World Cup ye de bo yan sakro mo conference 9 I'm say 9 ye mo bi akwan rainbow colors band keke no I'm say no way ye de eti ha because when you refuse to manage your country that's how it is we say Shetema dry dock Shetema shipyard the biggest shipping company in Ghana owned by Ghana Ghana Airways Nkrumah started with 2 planes na started here ye Britain for na year partnership into Britain had I think 45% 65% shares the rest of the shares was for Ghana ye increasing no man Ghana they fly London New York I think DC and another there were 6 cities that Ghana was flying to Accra ye de ma ko bibinia ye de wadro ni achiche ticket am ye girlfriends ni ye de ni ye de omko eni ade ni egu Ghana Airways President Kufuor time buy ye ka say omo ye Ghana International Line ko ye say gu no kan ho enne Ghana International Line become asem no court International Court of Justice ko bibinia bro Nkrumah factories ye gudi ni ade ye asori dan saje nkofo kofi ni ama tight ni ade ye saje nkofo sika wo ye gu no. Now say Ghana, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. And now freedom, Ghana freedom, freedom. What freedom? Freedom without action, freedom without work, freedom without any development, freedom without any economic empowerment. When Bob Malika emancipation from Mukwasiasem. You hear emancipation from some predators from Jimmy. You hear emancipation from some predators from Jimmy Jimmy. Ye importing yema Nkrumah time can importing yema 322 million from China. Fish, tin foods, green tea, preserved tomatoes, tin tomatoes, tomato sauces, tomato ketchup, chewing gum, $8.7 million. Rice, 30.6 million. And then China and fresh garlic, 6.4 million. Nina basic $322 million worth of money imported from China. Abro. Nipa ye abro no. Vietnam ye importing yema $227.5 million from Vietnam. Emudu na ye rice. Emunkwa $220 million out of it they imported from Vietnam. Netherlands ye importing yema $203 million poultry, oil, fats, meat, and modern and alcoholic beverages, beer, dairy, nina ye imported from any juices from Netherlands. Niyama ye imported on a broad country. Brazil, ye importing yama $184.2 million sugar, poultry, any beef. Niyama ye imported on all these things we are importing from other countries. Now yes, importation yo, or maybe an trading ye good, but the money a problem they say. Garlic na coffee quarantine catch him say ginger akeke draw cry important to call atwuma na kohwe akeke draw headquarters ni atwuma akeke draw headquarters any atwuma aden na nka akoma dan tomatoes wo ho any apreku benya ni din nya akoma dan tomatoes aden ne yentumi nya akompo alugu tomatoes aden ne yenye yenua ye ko import ni nyina afi eho meat poultry eden ni nyina ye import wheat ye import from Canada $101.2 million ye import wheat from Canada onuti snow mu no what is snow mo ama 3-4 months pe and we are bo Canada 3-4 months pe enu kra nya we papa te se Ghana ye we ibi ye we awo awia enu ko to me grow wheat na wa ye nyare what to me grow wheat abrochro ba ko bia was solar garden light Ghana already here ko bibili already ko bi kwa ya waduma ye 67 years solar lamp ko to me nyebu Ghana solar lamp hey On my way, we should be ashamed of ourselves, eh? Solar kania, street light to crazy Ghana, you to me solar street light. Hey, you import it, solar lamp, yes, a first say, abattoir road, who can't spend this. Oh, branch from motorway to abattoir, solar lights, because our street light now on your solar, you import you import, yet, I have near man kitty people now can go more wait me. I just say I don't even we cannot even empower your engineering department, KNUST. Oh Lord, we cannot even empower your school for this solar mechanics. Now your street lights what gun a crab bias empower the solar. Abroad me say some adura or beer fear can also grass a solar. A bien wire electricity solar to the extent that Abroach America or every year dance most people even Cromwell system state no more grant. Oh hey Ghana. Yabeka chiro abroni dawson. Minja word we use that abroni dawson. Solar no yama obia companies ma grant ye chew abane ma grant o person o ye ofie solar na ya di solar panel na be gusu ni a chew ye betue tika ni bi ama na so atue bi asoso na ama solar wo ofie solar simple awia ye tie awia mu ma na anu ya abrante Nigeria ni blaze ni ye be Marie be ye wedding Nigeria fo eni age say Ghana show a heat wo ha anka awia nyina we can convert awia ni nyina into solar. Yet now Makosomo is so overburdened to the extent that Akosomo bonani no be so and a doom so and a doom so. Why are you sitting in a ria but you cannot convert a ria into Kanya? It just beats my mind. Go be believe. It just beats my mind. Nakupa my resources no turn the ria into Kanya. Power yourself so that when you Kanya no 24/7 you cannot do it. Simple thing. Yanko for broni met na ye Ghana city obe convert ya mani asa kwa kofani eton. Ye besa kofani abeton. Enye biete the GTP ye good GTP as you are den to manasa kwa China na akotwa ye kente me so ba America na bosumi na ye Black History Month broni bia Ghana bibiru bo bebre o mo se kente ni nyina ye made in China ni nyina ye made in China. We have not been able to even tap into it. And then US ni Canada any idea universities na omo ye graduation omo nyina ko kente na do omo ko mu anka we could have just taken this business and the above boom rate to develop Kenteno, yan supply all these universities who are broached there be abronti adini druho the any say be pull be down and no the yemu ade ye will be yemu a degree any PhD but we don't have patriotism in our heart. You need patriotism even primary education but a proper PhD ye will be kasankwa Ghana no. That is how we have killed off Omano. Yet yadi akambro officer. Mini abema Kofi Krantin wa hanu mo join here. My mama akwa ba Kofi Krantin. Yakopo sha say ne you o join here e wo jaso Jumedi so you know Professor Krantin so e wa ha prof so join here. Prof, good evening ni akwa ba.
Good evening.
Ifia Yichia Prof so Prof Yichia happy anniversary. Na men kan deng Ifia. Yichia
Mejoso Kofi Krantin.
Yeah, Yichia Ebusianfo Awarfi. Ifia, I have to be honest. Where Casano, I wanted it to end so badly. It was just too painful. I was hoping say it's almost as if say what is say maybe this time it was there's no truth to it because it's like putting a dagger in your heart. It strips you of all your pride. Now more bruchin says ya bedu Ghana nti ya covered. Make us say covered up. Bruchia me wa bruchiri no wonam Wall Street na wonim se woyɛ better sen won no. It almost looks as if say obroni bia wuhu no ohwe wo no or catch you say look at you, aren't you disgraceful? You living a substandard life and you are in my country. Why don't you go to your country and fix it? If you won't feel it, no, it's so painful because baby I'll be poor. What to play mukrana or per service or crana air hostess no crew catch you say give me 1 second cry I get a complex. Say they know. Say we will be. What's your worth? Then what me? I baby takra won't me baby tak. Who are you to complain? If you're very sad till the end, doesn't it bother us? Because they say, if you're about NDC, about MPP, it's painful. It's too painful. Yeah, well, professors, prof, not to so everything he's studied, he's learned, he's acquired. It's just too painful. And when is this going to stop? This hemorrhaging is going on. The assault. Minim na minko if ya. Hey, yow. No, seriously. Hey, yow. Hey, it's painful. It's painful.
But remember when you have my prof from Musan about where did we miss it? Prof, when I was history, you watch the history so many years as provost. From 57 or maybe before that and 50, what was the mood? And then you may do this point. What happened in the history?
Okay, me dase me chia atiefo nyina. Obi a ochi obi a me chia no. Em se Ghana no da bia ye ka na ye pese ye ka se ase emra na nkroma wo ho no efiri ho no mo ba ni nyina na Ghana ye paradise. I don't see it that way.
Okay.
Ghana efiri tete Bruni ba ye develop mentality bi. On se Bruni no a oba no ye hoho. Ena oba so the divide and rule na ba eti ye na nanom ana wo ho sa abre do so say Bruni ade a so ye hoho no aba so ho ye sisi no so ti bibi a oye bi ase me na me sisi no kura na wo hu a wo nka nkire Bruni no o ye hoho so ho ena saa suban no etena ho a ena ye dey make it transition from colonial rule and even before colonial rule emra no me di dwa na ye dey ba colonial rule ena ye dey free ho ena ye dey aba post independence no emra ye ya ye di ho no na enkroma on say the support base no na onya free eye enkola no mo awie school middle school ano mo ni adwuma ye omo wie middle school ye be from Veranda Boys and Girls and onya bi so free as servicemen and Ghanaian businessmen na ye discriminate abrofo no Lebanese ne Syrians wo your commentary no you were mentioned Lebanese and Syrians omo control rights na nema saa de nya na nekurase efirase tete woni nyina etie no ka ho nti na ma 1948 route no ma kola emranche ne maba wa na ikum sergeant tipo ne odache lamte ne ba kono ka ho omo de eko attack saa stores no Lebanese Syrians foreigners almost stores so because now omo discriminate who so omo ba ye there omo be didwa enya profit no omo the omo repatriate scanner the ko mu so it is how to buy
bro to 1948 in Lebanese when they control stores no this kind of go
so most of the traders normally Lebanese any Syrians so it omo be control your economy no ache na economy is laissez-faire British colonial policy no na economic policy no laissez-faire do timi di dwawa otimi eye de ope bia ukoto na de aba no abeton unya osika eye wa profit so ti utimi repatriate now the call na one enkroma enya edom nya independence o ntambete UGCC no ntambete ene enya akwa enkroma CPP so ho eti nkrofo no use o dom ye ministers o ye BDC ne empanifo mede da adwuma na omo head anya dipa na omo akọ school aduru akiri kese obi ti se krobo edi se brofo kura o kan na ensipo so ho ye trema omo na omo akan ne ne amanema ena omo de sa mentality no make us a cheating mentality no omo de free colonial time e dey abai eti abrofo ja 200 million pounds sterling but as at 1965 na 66 year 2 nkroma na Ghana abai bankrupt also Ghana na abai bankrupt dey line na ya to nema then ye was sika we wo kan bibi say ye ne Korea South Korea ɛna ye no mo bo start free bra omo na ye PS so China no mo ne ade kura no mo de da akire de ne omo kɔ wo nim ne wo ye chi ye suban ni nyina wo ka ni nyina kɔ etwa ekɔ be 6 ye suban e science our mentality that ye free tete no eto aso a be si de ene nyina da so wo ho Ghana ni nya ni nu opeso ye de otwa no wo de bi adwuma sisi a ne fa ma onu bi no ntra ano se wa monitor the very well se supervision anya very effective and efficient wo be run into bankruptcies baby akoje usika free ye no bank no e be pursue why he agwa the prison it is your person o man no koso dia but ye na say ya Christopher ye na say ya nkramofo ye na say ye soma bosom ne ade enso ye ni nokore e ma ye ho ye ni nokore e ma o man no da bia ye pese ye sisi obi so ho na otimi sisi obi a wona na wani ate obi otimi sisi ne yonko no wona na ni ate o betwa no so ho ene ne kofa akalabule ni ne ma ka ho nyina ba ya e ma ebinum koko ye bo obinum tuo but tuo no ye bo no fa so obi amaso sa ayi na ebe line nkrofo app na ye yesua bibi firi mu ana yesua bibi amfiri efa so obi ani wa ye den me hu se e ba so ban eti e free nkroma time no okay obetu ska e no ye so obe outline bi shi ofi se na e laissez-faire economy beginning no oye se o de laissez-faire economy no obeto aso but eduru ma bi no o se free laissez-faire economy no obeto adopt socialist economy so that's our socialist economy no be na say state no na be control bibia state control so they mention na private sector no head and control bibia na mom no aban ejina ye de ayi bae price control ni ade and until man build factories ebre eti ye produce opi GNTC no ne enema bi akeka state facts o man no produce kwan bi fast or the create employment ma youth no ni ade but youth no o create employment ma na omo ye faithful to the state na say omo anye faithful omo na ye adwuma no madam fu bi emra wo frɛ me na me woni fie o se ne nana na o ye adwuma o commander sugar factory ono na ka kyerɛ me obo a me kwa o se ne nana ne ka kyerɛ da ne papa o se na o ye adwuma o commander sugar factory no ye mechanic dadeɛ na omo di machines omo ye di adwuma no e ho pass omo timi etuka sɛ asɛe na omo akɔgye mo no ne ya abe fix di omo se asɛe no omo de kɔ kokompe ahase eye Cape Coast ya flow seed baby afita mo wona ye seed nkra de kokompe na wakwakoton na o diska na good bottom na wo kotu ye na wo koton ye no wo ji ska de good bottom anko aban ho no se aban okokra dade na ono so de ba ye no dade na ama me ye adwuma anteka na wo wawia so ho de meche na wakwaje fufura be sha na mu eti ensuo cap bottle ye bitale ye example bottle ya ekura me ensuo a me no na fu ena ma start ena me no kakra be ye no ma hwie no ma no me ye no ma hwie no ma no e beduru abi no say one say ma no mbro efa so aho de meche no ekwa ebi nsa megu no say de ebeba no say ebere bedu na ye empty so aho say half empty e beduru abi na ye empty unya bi na ade ahya na mu nti sa na ema na krono no a ye nipa no omo bo omo edon sisi adwuma ano na omo bo krono na omo wia na omo ye yi no ekoduru mre bi say efe no na ebi mba mehim nti na omo ano na omo aye bankrupt afi ni esan line kra ni aiden ni yato nema so ho de meche na e de ahokyere ba Ghana for so ye mpa ahokyere ye mpa ahokyere enso ya na ye bi say de ye enema bi esuban bi aye dan dadi no e de ahokyere no ba nti enkopem say ye be say yesuban ni aye ye be ye de etene no ye be ko sa tibia we mu a kopem say Yesu Kristo beba say me ubusa me asa na meka eti tete
na o campus say enye leadership no keke but Ghana for ye suban ka ho ye leadership no so ka ho e na ma ye wie say
ena wie say me ka no me bo mpandifo na o appoint o DC ni hwa no so even though no say socialist system of economy and we adopt policy socialist economic policy or move away from capital from laissez-faire and obe adopt socialist but omo e de be daadai enye socialist niema na no omo ye omo ba be grabo niema property ube hu na we yakosi edan obi nsi bi da krobadu say uko kumasi a Osidan eye statue kurasi tire na yere mere ku Mohammed Mamehu be yes no golden bed kra yate say no golden bed na obi a we socialist and now we communist there e dey na akokoda your friends a golden bed so enka ye capitalist omo ye adwuma omo ye multinationals omo adwuma dey say o say Kwame despite aboni omo ye adwuma omo na ka say nko ko tuto sa na ma ne da so na nye obi a wo so o political philosophy or economic philosophy socialism na okoto abeda say somebody be dada so eti adada no na politicians no ne enipa no me say Ghana ha maka network bi amakoso obi obusa mase bia and it is something I know say Ghana ha ekoso at least me wie university am here adwuma say me kwa kotra de o Ghana education service and she said no and the uncle we school cry so just okoye licensure exams na ansana what's our cultural exams be answer am placement yeah time no me ko University of Cape Coast enti me we kura a degree and am say kura a diploma that is the professional aspect enti me mpe ne tournament pen no one the regional office ekobusa say the regional education office ekobusa say na here na vacancy wo na ja me ko pe ayi free ono letter in free headmaster no na me famra o ma o letter o the bar region o be post na me koye na wo ko ni nipa no kura na ono ne schedule officer o te no a o ye no o be so o de ebo to wait o pe bibia free on lunch free on that time wa pay bibia amano a o be ye no kokoasa o be ase wo ko toilet ase wo ko ha ase wo ba ha no o yesi a wo ti odum sa na time so ko break na ukope bibi tu ono na the man we are afi obaka to say school ha we vacancy and na wo akone nam ho wako headmaster na akone say headmaster no to so subject no say me am here history and religion say history and religion vacancy bi ho no ma ama assurance letter na the original office wa ba ho no a ya ye kra na ye se cobra na ye o letter no e don so no wo the wait beto so ye o establishment warrant ama wa wo the wait ato so ya ka kire say two things either so be call Accra school na ya post to akomu no omaga is a fakọ onipa na oye ni schedule officer accounts officer na ye ni schedule na so ye no wakacho say either say wa wo de be kwa na be ma miska na me de akwa Accra ma na so call regional officer also call establishment warrant no wo kwa eno so de wait ato na wo ka say Accra no wa be call controller and accountant general also de wait ato so enti every step on your way biano obi so enuntina ama corruption aye widespread e woye mamu no because me ma ba na watwa me so me teacher ni watwa me and me so contract classroom na me try there oba na ode na be ba no so me so be ya me special classes ama me nyi me trimo nchira there during my normal teaching hours no na me say me part time special one ode 1-on-1 ma charge me ma wo school me ba na me wo fa so school o me catch up say 1-on-1 teacher for say 200 Ghana cedis 1-on-1 we two courses 800 400 800 so me dey 800 metia it is me pay and so me need a year you can imagine so you see free SHS and so e duru one ma won e dey ahia omo nsa omo ye placement na man kola na kwa yi no omo agents omo twetu sika e ma omo oya ebinom eje ebi kura bete ye see 50,000 12,000 10,000 the anko actually kura no be 5,000 na ye sa na ema we nyina na ye wi ana ya san ko blame politicians at times na nya politicians no na mom enipa na ye de adwuma show so say if risro e na abafem president no dey on the one person figurehead e no te Flagstar house or so with ne team no more of course e wo the omo ebinom so ye no Flagstar house but oba ministry wa e wo the ebi so ye o free ministry ho na oba departments and agencies no any institutions na e wo die obinom enso eye ho wa bia obeko bia no e wo Ghana ha obi a wo de e wo ye me nyi twen ene ma yiadoa utwa me me kra de me kan me kan because de me kan no minim de me kan ena me kan nyese bia eye ntron ena midi so ho me pese me bobodi ka senka enya yi a kweti bia bobodi bebre omo a bia obeko bia akoye bibia so kono anyi ska ye muaw even who private you cry you take it grab and go for you do baby me inaugural lecture and say and saying I'm in microphone I was surprised university my inaugural lecture obi wan pray any row or say na mama honorarium obusa me so me man honorarium na me yi mani free ho oh me yi mani free ho me yes
endemic.
so that's the right word that where you should endemic common everywhere uko ba bia ube bi abaye yesu enti na e fan so free amamrem ya mamre na ye wo no ye culture no on se untimi nko ohene fie wa amra ahenkwa uhunu nana se ahenkwa wa ma ahenkwa bibia so ho na wa ma chia me bibia enya de a ubehu nana na nana no ankasa nso wokwa ye wo boa mu ade a wo de bema no ohema boa mu ade kontre ni akwam omo aboa mu ade we ni mo boa mu ade yehu bi wo television so yehu bi wo ahemfie yehu it is niema we this aspect of our culture no so ho I influence public service no omo me agba aduma ni ade ade nti wo kopani ho no ma because emre bi ye de mikro mo hine bi to prison emra na Rollins was no 1988 ene e ma akwan na sabre na mo university me se me kwa akosra na e osunwan prisons me ko ye me duru gate ono mo ye nam so me be nam so me ba besra na na so me be se me boni din ena omo ma me call office bi ye omo direct me na me call me fill form bi na omo direct me na me call office bi me ko pani na me ko to ye no o ka kire me say prison officer pani na me go say dey na me de bre no nam so na me school boy me ni bibia me na me ye de na to prison na me ba be e wo sunwan asema me ka sunwan na esi o ka kire me say wontimi nko ahemfie wa amra wo koma na bibia that's what the prison officer told me enti ubeka bi a ho no ye tip of the iceberg ubeko baby foforo baby anti baby abeko bia nanado emra garamse wo kan garamse asem start here or the presidency kra you put it on the line say you na aba no garamse no so obelusu na konya kra any obelusu na konya obe fight what the soldier for the police for the call ade na omo ntimi am fight garamse no omo koy omo botom no omo kopey okona ye gold back akra bi near the mana gold back say yi akap ye kra mi ye tabiri the mana office obechi di pakrona na Chinese no obechi na Ghana ni no ye oje ye ni sika no yehu sika no ya de ti say akoko a obeto no so ho enti ekopem say ye be say ye suban no enti ena no po na me ka say we need moral revolution we don't need any political revolution it's moral revolution yes ye change ye suban ye ne me personally what I've come to experience so we are the money pa no anye ne bibi na wo ye eche ne free na oya enu mo nshira wo mu chense obagine bibi because my niema makrofo bebre amanye o mo hwe admissions duro na no university admission me promote me wo what the same protocol the protocol me wo nyina me de chen krofo manye obi free manye obi kapre manye obi taku including Captain Smart onua FM or the akola bi by ofre me maninya protocol to be kura be ka chense Captain Smart Ghana how na be called was all admission at the 11th hour obeka chose for free oko radio so ya abomidin so buy manyu bibi me ha me ka kire no busa Captain Smart see obeka chose so oti a obedi ho dance so ho manyu ne taku manyu ne sempoa sa papa na ya na me ye mancrofo no ebie ekwan bebre de ma me wo hwe so ba ko bi na me ye board chairman e wo Mfansema Girls Senior High School from 2012 to 2017 na awuraba bi sabre no 2015 na NDC na opa also ye NDC ni pa o takwa na ne ba o pe admission when admission wo we JHS on e ya de kra wo school o ko e say human basic school and o pay Wesley girls for ya fada nto ho etina pe wonya school bi na omuhu ne party na o nto omuhu MC ni ale no so protocol omo de na ba or the same Mfansema Girls and omo ka say the own trace can ye no 700 that's at that time 700 Ghana cedis and omo jesi de kwa kope admission amano and no kra na omo say de ka MC protocol no omo de call ye na oje no omo ye ya akola no ya mfa no just pass o tria sense no akola no ya ye de ya mfa no ena girl yi ba ya o say the e ba say in actual fact nka ye be fa no na ma me tria 700 na onya sika emfa en to to de ma aka no ye de o de amakola na amakola na de o de aba school nti sabre so na e late na e yem say early December. So now in 2 weeks time, on be makwan. So yes, okay, o makola no nko. Early January na o amana ko o makwan na edi bro nya ni wi na o manako. Ye di bro nya ni wi na o de akola no ba e. O ka che say esan say one report to ansa na January December no ko na wi. That's first term nti no. Omo e de the place na ye de ama obi ya anyi no. Me na na me ye bo che. Okosu wo ho e wo school ye amfado e no call takwa okọ na se sabre na me UTAG executive nti na national president of UTAG na a UMAT no no say me na me ye bo che o e na ofre me do ka kire me say na si oba na ba ho na me mo ano nti oba me wo me officer na lead no ba e oba e obeka no say am so no problem me free head mistress na me ne kan e na head mistress say are you too late enya dia zeno what the list bibi akọ akra anya de obetumi agye na me ka kire Ewuraba nse wo de kọ fa akola no kọ back to takwa school wo say mine na promise obe ne isi aha na nyi o pama no kọ first year second year no I'm assuring you so me will protocol school me me agye second year ampa me ma agye again no second year okọ ho no e ma ne ma me no kọ be dem asam se de na me agye from me here bibi am through please for the kọ me nyi bibi so about 5 years down the line.
Oh, God, you point on Mark of female.
About 5 years down the line, me fear baby I'm a tia me ne wo ye yi. Uba fear me do call outside is here. Me the marble stone e twa fear no nyina ahia. Na me pe marble stone ato. E na obi ka chem say takwa le benya bi. Na so takwa le benya bi de na me frɛ oba no. Na me kan chem say ompe ebi mame me maniska on to bi mame na nka ye mfa mre me. Me frɛ no na me ka kire na osi o wate obeye ho adwuma. Na so me first ka so de nya abotre. O de 2 kiat loads of marble stone and a premi free of charge. The material transportation, cost of the marble stone. Why I'm sure the chairman. And I'm the after be fear no na if you na kama. Enti we ya papa ma obi a any question ka GBB name no emre papa ba ni pa no so be kai. Ma me bia me ma onya admission ne ba last minute time Captain Smart dey no buy. Maame no ba me ho akora no nya admission so oba be de o ya adwuma commercial bank o so be de ma so madam me ya de ma obi a me ya ye so de sika na bibi be chemi o me mpesa de me ye de amanya nkopon because service to God is service to mankind. Are you doing this? We are Christians, we are not doing. Are you a Muslim? Are you doing that? We are any DJ sika any enti baby abeko bi asa na de no enti me feel say there is the need for moral revolution. It is a moral revolution. Ye moral revolution na na e dey sachira beba e na be ma corruption akofem e no dey be ma oman na di ye be nya sika because sika aban ni generate revenue ni resources na onya ni nyina no about 20 or 30% of it into corruption e waste kwa ko di ankrankre botobu na sa sika we nyina sa ke ka aban no na obi ade ye adwuma sa de emra no ka enka Ghana ko na nimpa enka development ayi si ke be hu no be say 5 or 10 times that ndi ubi sami ade metimi aka no question dey abusa.
That's a moral revolution. Kofi, what do you think? The provoking because 67 years. Yes, starting from do we have anything to celebrate? Here will be there. What you did dance here? 67. Looking at the facts here, I mean, the prof, I can say yes. Young brand no asana wa ba the prof can say moral revolution because nipa na general no problem no because in chroma time you know no che not corruption say and starting free and until you starting from do we have anything to celebrate for the 67?
We don't. Plain and simple. But if you have a couple of things that area of concern with na prof kind number one, young culture send up na prof can be. But adeba kwa yenti leadership per se, one will represent as leaders no. Because one of the things that meba bruchi maybe and say leadership, you have to have a deep understanding of how a human being functions. So I say. Now, young side of the world, they are Ghana no. Yen take that into consideration. A couple of things. Say me Juma or UPS, United Parcel Service. No. Every night biano me grave night schedule. Graveyard schedule na me. Now me back ahimrachi managers ni na aba ni ehie ma you find out bibia echo wrong or route no so no. Na ya ye meeting near correct. Ghana when yes yeah accept changes be ni ho. Inti eholo na misua bibi ofre say khaki. Constant assault to continuous improvement. One yes our Ghana. Inti bibia esino ye fan to say a standard and we work around it. Yensesa root cause no yensesa. Tisena prof eken. The fact so no create protocol na wrong. And sister bibi wo say protocol no je.
But I don't want the more now.
But and sister and American say
But America, how we legacy admissions? Well, Ivy Leagues in here, you legacy admissions. So you are aware of that.
insult you.
Are you aware of that from your legacy admissions? Alumni only now advantages that they get.
That's correct. But in addition to standard be aware lay. Inti won't mean legacy promotion admissions ne we're bypass the main course of standardized admissions no won't me. But Ghana no obi to me would to make a protocol obi any honoma onya standard admission. And I no kind back one na troubling to me say mami obeche na bui. And say no crown oje it should be illegal for him to accept. Because BBS say accept and as say what standard be say bia. Wunye BBS as a token no ebia of 10 cedis worth, 20 cedis worth. Would mean ye BBA of more than 20 cedis worth, it would be legal. It is the Dipakone the neck crack.
Yes, and the Banner school no crown still.
Wouldn't mean ye, who were Juemunquas, and no been a Mahama Dikoje Ford Explorer. Dame cannot say. Inti sa culture na SSA ye correct Niama from the root cause no young correct here. We build sa young lifestyle, young culture, religion around the way we've been brought up, and it becomes bibia a part of young life, and it becomes accepted. And none of this are problems, Iba. Yeah, culture be a maintenance, bibia, bibia from a critical perspective. Into bibia si a yejetum. Una mankranga who bibia way maintenance. When you see Danny si ma. Down the last 10 years, after 10 years, we're quite loan, no, the Abuagun Wesi Fufu. And so, then I see 150 years. What's an American say? We have a serious problem. The serious problem I hear one of the citizens. Say, and Crawford say, we here a moral, then a doctor kind of doctor say, professor say,
moral revolution.
And your moral revolution you hear a revolution of the intellect, leadership in a deba. Because in a society where systems break down, and no culture and religion ne take over. That's when you feel say we hear a moral revolution. People will never change morally. Systems, any enforcement, rules and regulation. So, and law and order, and yet, we're friending law and order, any rules and regulation, no, human beings are creatures of adaptation. Obia will not morally change because they feel say it makes me a better person. If you are we're sorry, say you are going to eat spinach and eat well every day, mineralize your body and exercise because we feel say a good man. You are an exception. The general multitude of young society, even though they've been advised to do obia say worrying yet because human beings are creatures of adaptation. We take the course of least resistance. Now, leadership ne create sa constriction ne mayeng Inti wumpo, wuko Singapore, wuko Japan, wuko Germany, wuko Doha nominate a year. One tina honomon kesi. We need our citizens to be of good morals. Said not, we will have a better society. No, that's not how it works.
Okay.
They constrict people to a specific expectation. With time, some people will build habits of that constriction, but one build habits, if they fall out of place now, there is already a consequence. Punishment to get you right back in line.
And to coffee, yeah, what is in the other idea on 67 years of independence? Don't we have enough rules? You need enough, you need enough constriction. So what is the problem? It's not 67 years from DNA. Why it didn't show 67 years? Yeah.
If your problem is so simple, yes, problem is simple. They say you need leaders who the mental capacity to think past into the arena of baby Ayere Kane. Baby Ayere Kane conversation I mean only Professor Ayere Harvey a two out of the box thinking masa current breed of leaders want to make they're not cut out for that. If you
that is it from Nkrumah time independence not before
from Nkrumah time, listen. From Nkrumah time, we have really never had a leader what think out of the box or what step out. What to me, a create be long term to constrict Ghana food to a different style of thinking. Leader be a yebenyano or an addition to something that does not work. Inti, we have built synapses around Bibia Enye Juma, and we've created strengths from something that does not work. Now, doing more of what doesn't work will never make it work. Out of desperation, we do more, but more will not give you the result. You have, practice makes
man perfect, yeah.
See, that's where we are.
But this is what we were taught in school. Practice
but you see, practice doesn't make you perfect. Perfect practice makes you perfect. If you practice something wrongly, you will always do it wrongly and get the wrong result.
Okay.
And we have been practicing wrongly. We need leadership who understands.
And to copy answer question, and I'm say Nkrumah time. Any system or prof can Nkrumah or Canadian difficulties and a womb. Yeni nyina no chese Nkrumah time no na perfect because abrofuni or Nkrumah omudi no. Said a prof no chere history or chere no. Ye two Nkrumah na sika ni nyina ye nkofo adi. Ebi ni de o se probadu se na ye de koye golden bed we Kumasi. And what are we celebrating 67 years? Should we even celebrate?
No, we shouldn't. And listen, if I am president today at 6 March, for the first 4 years, celebrate. Because Sika was say 6 March celebration, any OT, overtime, what the chair officers, school for our bra, would you know, Riema was salute, As Medebeka Kodowe bro Ninkate. Near beer export. And let me see, listen, it seems that your problem not yet so simple, beyond comprehension, actually under comprehension, because you would not think, say, omanga yeni bro, omanga yeni enough mo, because ye kramo. Now, if you are sa numbers now, remember, na ya woman say, big companies now, the numbers name my government now, them numbers, government to me formulate some numbers in now. P no crying ye Ghanaian. It was some creating ban what on win your profits now. Sikeni now funnels out of the country and it digs us deeper into a hole. Inti Efia, we're a country, let me say, we don't have a government, NDC, MPP, what analysts, what ye offending one numbers to know say we are funneling money out and until need foreign exchange reserves. 99% of your own domestic markets are controlled by foreign markets. And until you to me in control young inflation, you high debt, you need foreign exchange reserve, you need trade surplus. Sanyama fo in Amaya call IMF 17 times. You go IMF no. Nobody can put the brakes on. Efia. Nobody can pull the plug. Into what a part of them said nobody in Ghana in the government of NDC and the MPP in the last 32 years in Nimni amending hurricane. It's impossible. Into Wonima I didn't 1 year because apparently near my IMF no any magic. Yenim high debt, high inflation, no foreign exchange reserve, no trade surplus. It will never change. They be a IMF. I think na sankrofo the MPP and NDC want to say na 1 minute of parliament to say this is what we have to do to get foreign exchange reserves to pay down our debt. Just we're finding production on a local level. So you able control your domestic markets. Not inflation bear down because you're in many economists. This is common sense. Economics 101.
You say they're prof, prof. Me hear the point that you were making, prof. Because prof ne raise the issue say as far back as in Nkrumah time, so I had the same series of running Lebanese way. They were controlling retail market, no. And that was one of the reasons why Kotokanum say they needed to change them. I guess I know
may say colonial period, you know. Okay. Control. So na omo discriminate etia Ghanaians na say Gold Coasters na no see business a park grant anything about park grant na any businessmen omo throw omo weight behind the nationalist movement and now struggle so and also nti na ma enkola no emra yekum Captain Atipo ne Sergeant Odache Lamte ne ba ko no ka ho no omo attack almost stores sa Syrians ne Lebanese no almost stores na war Koforidua Accra ene Nsawam ne ade no because omuna even post independence grant no omo then still no more stores ha but then with time no
stop before colonial time independence time after that you still foreigners and they control Ghana resources so yes sorry near quoting Nkrumah so the black man is capable of managing his own affairs and then still I would have put economy
say on the Nkrumah time no Nkrumah baba ma economy ni or the say socialist control it's not foreign participation or foreigners no minimum so as against colonial time because now a state control so on the mention but post Nkrumah no especially yenya Rollins buy na chi no they compare investors so invest in the country now there was a paradigm shift from price control regime no to now laissez-faire no back to laissez-faire yes obi antimi enye den invest in the economy it is investors na eba no ema obi on the capital or the chroma and then na Chinese for ababe flood the market sa Syrians ne Lebanese ya omo ekra money at the obi apeso ye den owo scout the crop profits has a higher for obeba obi apeso ko ba bi e hofo say be betia say be ska na me fin say America hofo na me kwa menya me ko invest me sika na menya more profita me ko akwa invest enti antra ho no ma forever on see etu Nkrumah and a free fan on buy on be change paradigm no so
and then make still like we have foreigners controlling Ghana right all the way to cocoa
say no yama omo kwan because you pay investors it omo ba as investors so on the mention and omo be invest omo capital it will be how ba office rice importation and never be a owa hoodin obetimi aye na odi sika no etomo na odi aba ha na abeto na odi ko emre bi kura president Kofo Tab do obi person okoto okra enchiri free or they say Brazil edebaha wamra songo salt ewo ho bebre ye salt industry no ebe no obi person okoto oko import enchiri free Brazil edebaha eti esanse eye free market economy.
Tell you true say leadership problem because if we your leader our boss when him say foreigners control ya there but one of what to make change my partnership 80-20 maybe 50-50 sometimes why can't we do it? And when I coffee granting your problem he said we have nothing to celebrate. Only they said the way you see a day and what you are from but still foreigners the control your resources you need right to celebrate.
Many Kofi Kwate and Yadwin say you have nothing to celebrate. Even the fact that we won the independence on 6 March 1957 in itself is significant and it's historical and historically significant, and that alone is worth celebrating. And you know, it means celebrating. So because enye obia na nya ne sa ebino ansa no benya independence no omo tweatuo e ma nipa wuwui. Go to Angola, go to Guinea-Bissau, go to Algeria, go to South Africa, go to Namibia, go to Mozambique, go to Kenya. The story is different. They got their independence all right, but blood had to be shed. Yeah, blood na shed. You shed the capture tipo ne or that lamb ne omo eshe omo blood there you omo, but not on that scale. See your baby. So it's your independence. No, it's well celebrated. Your leaders, we don't have to put the blame on them alone. Individuals will be akahobi. Yeah, citizen, yeah, corrupt. Yeah, we are not doing the right thing. Now, who said not that our leaders don't have balls. Laws have been passed. There have been so many laws since Nkrumah time. You are passing law, this law, that law, price control. They say, "Adewe, ne boy say, uto any boy 10 cities. What the 1 city kratos etoswa profiteering. You bet you na the work court near the edipa koda prison. You find it. The point is that you so for bebre eni mraso. Ne mrana ye ni so no e ne kofa problem e be president no oh so and perception is not the same. The way he sees things is not the same I also see. Do you get me? And there are divergence of views. It is a bus so why a law student? Why a law? I mean, Obiane perspective or look at things. Do you get me? The angle he looks at things. It's the socialist, your capitalist, your baby on him baby on him a business all can't serve. Obi be che ma de maame na me ma efa ne ba no me so on ta de emre me o so obeto aba o de ba ya me sim me dis scam man so scan de on me ntwa ka ska o de che bo se kedi kwa ansa meje so ebi ne se o ka se o de say any protocol admission create in Ghana na enye correct, but it is something that is accepted all over the country. Baby, your protocol and the standard. It is dependent on the standard. We don't lower the standard. The standard is not lowered. You get me? It is legitimate. But also, but I don't have any qualms with him. You get me? But as some American say,
why he's disagreeing with him? That's all my point of.
Mommy making me point. And these are people. Then when I finish, you bring him in. Emrano, I think he did Mrano. So, Britain, America, the law will whip you in line. But when it comes to the implementation of the law, that is where you are found wanting. So, is it the press? Is it the press? The president is not the enforcer of the law. Your law enforcement agencies. There's a law enforcement. your traffic regulations. Obi akaka recklessly. Police ni achino. So police ni na so chino no de court na court to find no. Okase waje teku ana asempoa waje ni panel license na or the 5 cities and 10 cities ashim no the amana. So I enforce law. Do you blame it on the president?
Why na commander in chief?
Oh, please. I don't know the president is the commander in chief, but you cannot go and blame it on the president. It is the person who has been put there. Say the me matter say me say the matter say me in charge there with University of Cape Coast, meaning the provost of my college. Now me call akochere ade. Now me call instead say me de metren kolana de na me refer omo to books. Go to this book in the library, a copy is there, or Google here you get it. Now me catch that color and say, me my handouts or 10 cities, won't you have 10 cities? Do you go and blame my vice chancellor? Do you go and blame the minister of education, or do you go and blame the president? And the end is idea, no mistake. You should put the blame at every place that people have done that have done wrong thing. Now LGBT law, yes, president and sign it, or say it will be the Supreme Court until when Supreme Court determine we are, then you know what to do. People are criticizing him, say unsigned law, no. And me criticizing no. I gonna say it's all sign. So sign we go Supreme Court, not Supreme Court to rule, not Supreme Court can say we reverse na. And no why any family there. No be able say anyone here name of Supreme Court and no munyan say no. See reverse here. Where the president has to be criticized, we criticize him, but you cannot put every blame on the president. Yen nipa no so. Asudi no father yeso say ma anyame de wo anya wo de a in a situation where you want to say BBI and Fankosha president there any the president be from Nkrumah down to Danado any you beka so mo na anya de je nipa no so asudi da yeso ye nipa no ye nye the writing ye nyina ye writing because ye nyina ye kabo by a collective governance is a collective responsibility and one person if you put the blame only on the president, I don't agree with you. And Nkrumah be any there president be by you were praising a champion be any there despite the shortcomings in but he was still by the citizenry and the citizenry yenye from there where Okoke post Pedu runabout, Pedu traffic light, traffic light has been there. Unim say Udru a traffic light in Hobium. Either say police in direct, it's a police in any one more direct here. Now, drivers now, drive or road, no. Yankasa, any manage, say, me say, I am a time and I'm a call, you say your time and over, say, be man over. And then a traffic light, traffic light, and so, yes, I'm a light up because. Obi akwa we are ahomano cables na obi akwa kutucha. Do you go and blame Nanado for the stealing of the cables? Who do you blame? Blame the citizen who had gone to steal. Any Nanado or no they do what you're saying. But then you need to say they made and into the whole police, your soldier, your prison, your BBA. And so if you look at it from that angle, I will never agree with you. Yes or no? Oh yeah. Maybe you can only blame Nanado. You can only blame Nanado. You can only blame Nanado when a minister who is supposed to take an action or do something fails to do, and Nanado fails to punish the minister or sack the minister. It is not his responsibility. Say, but ministries ni departments ni ade enya Nanado ena eheho or the ama obi enti no wa delegate power ama minister it is a minister na anya na adwuma ena minister no so wa appointing crofo a social edida enema no so omo anya omo adwuma you blame the one who has been put in charge. You don't go and blame the president even though you talk about the ultimate responsibility. At times it doesn't work that way because you may not have any justification for doing that. You cannot come.
Why do you think that leaders are that means from Nkrumah basic form they are all our problem? Why do you think so? Because problem no citizens
okay, one of the biggest problems here Ghana is the impanyinfuni and it's not a pun on Prof. Leadership and Kasano Wantiase. The responsibility that comes with leadership. No. Wantiase, Prof. and Tiase. Ofiu say yeah attack Nanado. Yeah, attacking Nanado. But
because they are saying speaking from it from historical perspective, say from
historical.
and leaders no, and I cause a problem. They have citizens no.
If any leader no cause problem, but a leader necessarily make sure say it's fixed. That's all the citizens want to know. That the problem has been fixed. Nobody cares about who causes the problem. Uko leadership school, nobody cares about who causes the problem. And you shouldn't even talk about how the problem came about. Only time I will talk about how the problem came about is sending a me a craft a pathway to fixing it. Uko leadership school, what you sudden.
Solution fixing it. No leader don't want to me fix it. He needs lieutenants and people across.
And then Mary Baba came. If you the whole idea and it says so what you vote to my say we are commander in chief. Yenim say unkuto won't mean ye jumano. Obi enim granted. Uko Mercedes Benz ne own Mercedes, but no crown design him how it comes about. But a string of people are ubia yet delegated to a specific task. But say Mercedes be malfunctional, a company and they take responsibility. The CEO no na blame no be no so. So in the air can I say what fananado say or your president and our phobia say we are president and now we are head of any team. Won't necessarily will assemble the most capable competencies. Now we delegate who vision no to them say ye per se ye koha inti mona moraba craft a pathway near the alcohol. Now mono individually no in corporate level no a senior SVP senior vice presidents. Now waba vice presidents. Now waba presidents of different groups. Now wako senior managers. Then it goes down to supervisors. Inti obia will unit or responsible for, but for CEO no responsible say bibi koronga ono no assemble team na ye what friend is a mastermind no. Inti as far as the president of a country is concerned no who necessarily will assemble a team. Na team no obia who cabinet who ministers. Now what catch you say ye per se ye Accra to be the cleanest city. Nanado case of person ya Accra the cleanest city no. And you no kwako for pride no apra. No. But as I say, our minister be or in charge of sanitation. Sanitation employee will be with Zoom Lion. No make sure say worry ye to the last person who could talk prior or a platform on san way leadership won't no say it's not your forte.
And it 67 years no, Kofi, are you saying say we haven't been able to see this leadership thing okay? Through a champ or a free far, nobody has been able to do this.
Ghana full impending for no 99% of them into leadership I say. Men American show. I say that because I've had numerous conversations with Ghana full impending for. They be on this issue, they get confused. Send a Prof Rekani, and with all due respect, and I respect his perspective, but on subject, and I said, now I want to go back to BBAC in the 80s, London. In the 80s, young year called London, no. Indian folk, because of political asylum, wama Indian folk be brain Pakistani folk bar London. What about London? In East London, the baby offering is a dry dock. Area be London. What started to say one families were started near man Indian phone so said what started to talk corner shops near then was started building economies what now London British government who said no where it take over SAS East London a whole now where it take where built economies were whole now Indian owned no will change policy. If you would change policy, no dismantle Indian folk surgeons and take over East London. And that's the same thing. See, a competent leadership for Ghana. wobetumi ayɛ mmara policy na wɔn ama indigenous Ghanaians no power and an edge to development. Ebine den, Efia, do you have any idea how expensive it is to get money? Young prime rate, say, about 14 something percent. Now, who are prime rate of 14%? Banks are charging you 28, 29% loans. How do you make a profit? Onipa when the computer we say yes Syria for ne Lebanese for what Tom money is something adi. What the loans were outside and what the Ghana, which you are 3 and 4%. Ghana for traders in yet competitive. One finance in a would ye local banks in yet competitive. Meanwhile, no, you spend over 25 billion cedis the banks now. A service woni na no inti say no local banks no kra na nka emma yinsika kakra na emma finance ye readily available no kra no. Instead I yede 9 billion cedis be retool, yede be recondition, yede be reform, yem banking no, yede 25 billion eguno. Do we have the brains or do we have what?
Now, if you national banks not good at all. The banks they are in raise capital where the banks not collapse already. GN Bank and now for focus on no munyo music and was it not collapse already? They are taking money from people invested it wrongly. According to Bank of Ghana report, corporate governance in here, it wasn't true.
First of all, there is bank BIA or criteria SSA make. Now, any supervisory authority from the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Banking Commissioner, SSA was supervised. The question is so be say one side agencies no what year won't man na.
Now, so didn't you see the report they kept giving, especially men's gold? They other people stop putting your money there. They were doing that.
There be. Men's gold should not even have been in business because it violated all the rules of SEC. Men's gold should not have been in business. In fact, a fallout from the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Banking Commission. So agencies did not work. But me buy or kind. In America, I say, if these institutions work the way it was supposed to work, none of these banking facilities would be operating at least at a negative solvency to cause them to be in the red. For somebody to consider as so good instead of reforming it. In any case, Sikana SSA would depositors say wuguna when wuno cry now reform. I say Sikana now the bema what's the sense of say wugun? Na me can what you say. Wuguno when wuno say Sikana now the bema depositors. It ya then necessary wugun now ma bank won't reform mum Nancy ho na Emma service.
Okay, are you aware? Said they tried to do that. Momu disika. Emma even no Kofi. I know they am aware of that.
Oh,
2 years earlier, no, 2 years earlier, Bank of Ghana reports a supervising committee in effect. I want us to even look at the broader issue, but I am aware. Said 2 years before, 2 years prior to even the collapse of the banks, any formation of consolidated banking. Bank of all these government, individual companies now almost struggle no banks to bring them up so that they can pay and conform. They gave them money. They gave them money. Yet they still mismanage it. Are you aware of that?
First of all, so Obia ko bank is okwakoje loan, and our company bia ko banks okwako bobosia. Or free say ATP. SSA will meet, what ability to pay limits. Criteria, most of the banks now, there is a regulatory agency, SSA check who books on a month-to-month basis to make sure say we read disarm so you don't over exceed, now won't exhaust what solvency. Would these who are anchored, they would not have gone in the red to cause agencies to come in to now full force them into closure.
Okay.
That's the point.
I get your point.
And none in America said, you see, when you don't understand leadership now, after also the banks now say, where was leadership? Banking agency, even young central bank, agency as I say, you said in 2005 was the thing. Yeah, a risk management analysis what Bank of Ghana said. What 2015 levels of World Bank would decline me koko hu wampa one office was throw or decline into Bank of Ghana and Kasano woni enterprise risk management system. So with the enterprise risk management system, how can you then have the controls for financial institutions that will supervise? You can't. You don't have the system to supervise. They are bound to fall out of line now to give you an excuse to go and to close them. But what I of say, because the system come on say leeway, no overextend. Now make an note say.
That's what I say vicarious liability, no. By extension, 1 year there. What can
my point exactly.
Vicarious leadership is a but they back to the main issue, no. Now, problem person point of order, but the main issue, like I say, this issue about say abrofo and then control your economy from before independence, and in there still the same abrofo say me and my example about extractive industry. This is statistics for University of Ghana, which is a gold and the oil in Kwano. Abrofuni making profit after tax. This is excluding tax, excluding a cost. Omo production cost ya tie free buno over the last 8 years they made 48 billion. Omo this is can come crew. And another prof from India from Nkrumah time that these people were there and they have hijacked the economy basically and then. But again, to buttress who could to a point, nobody is forcing us to sign any contract with these people. Yeah, sign contracting with them and giving them a chunk of it. But you remember also, but prof, point of what happened also making and also sector so how you bet me a money Nagana for or mining development.
Yeah. He was talking about leadership and said mental leadership per se. Now he's talking about policy. Policy, has a policy. Every leader be a vision, and then he comes out, he formulates policy to govern the nation state. Do you get me? But maybe my argument I may say, any pana or no, because policy no who formulate policy now, the implementation, you know, it's supposed to be done by people along the line. From the top to the bottom. Do you get me? Your president, your cabinet ministers, and sana cabinet ministers are in the ministries, and some about departments, agencies, and all that. Each of them is being supervised by a person who has been appointed. It be a political appointees, it be a civil servants. Sankrofo we no obi aye na adwuma ansa na wo ba honoma employees na omo so ho omo ye adwuma no. If the people who are supposed to work are not working, let's say leader no kra no person will sanction na, at times you are accused of say victimizing nipa no na ye the tribalism abam na ye the political.
Whose fault is that? Why not?
Oh, please let me talk. Do you go and blame that on the president? Say person me BB if I want to do something. Me a leader, me person me taking decision be. Now me ye blame me. Now we who cry there do court. We who cry no. Now so demonstration. Government has a lot of policies in Ghana here. Our person will implement it or statistics will implement here. You see people going on the street at times they take the press, even free SHS for bankers or they buy. Is it not the policy? Obi and go Supreme Court. And
also or the policy be by he doesn't expect anybody to oppose. Because
people will oppose. And that is what I'm saying, sir. What the policy number now? Ono was talking about using the case of what you call Britain. In all citing Indians and the Pakistanis, and then the government came out with a policy. In the same vein, from all the various governments, from Nkrumah down to Nanado, almost who say be bad and all the policies, but Galam say against it. But still people are doing it. Ukrano, Wakase, policy for any soldier for one soldier for will go there. Yet the thing is going on. About for the
leader went to me and check on Croft. Now breach it, and they've breached it. Say leader not crack a whip. Now send it from Bian's uncle yet. I want to go be granted that way coming.
yes, I came for that, but a dear, what Ghana, if you are until recently, our America, yes, I came for your chibidum dom, a banking issue, our cite as example. Yemfa obi nkonko tumu Capital Bank obi na prison hu sesi ya yen try obi ma
the people who are the Bank of Ghana no mu failure no e cause sad here we they are lack of enforcement of the banking regulations. Almost
why if you bisa Prof said why wa Bank of Ghana any Securities and Exchange Commissioner one causes out meltdown yi and not the prison there be catch
well
compared to Nkrumah, is this not what Nkrumah did say? So compare Nkrumah leadership to present day leadership.
see, and then you are in a democratic dispensation. Our Ghana case let's take opening case for example. It's over 7 years. He's being tried, but it's over 7 years. It has not come to conclusion. Other cases, our home case be snitch case be no BB Thompson at the Omo case. Within the say crack
and a Thompson case.
And the Thompson minim the akosi. Eti Sawoka say
and Thompson one and Thompson you need that case.
Okay. Then because at the point now I lost a track of the case. The person can say leadership there. Lead the view of all policies. Or follow policy. Who's are the enya udiso. Buzia, for example, or by who said the economy was controlled by foreigners, Nigerians, Malians, near there. He came out with aliens compliance order. Or say wo Ghana ha na winning character with the what friend is saying what's it permit resident permit ma utra or go back to your country. Say Ghanaians take you over the commanding height of the economy. At the NAC, people have been condemning Buzia for what he did for that area's compliance order.
About condemning.
Meanwhile,
baby, we lack policies near there. It's not that we lack policies. We have leaders have formulated policies. It comes back to my argument to say a policies in the home run the home. Then Nipano man. And then right leaders crack the whip. And now president be by Rollins by Oberline, all the former presidents our mucho. But post that after that, and near my crimes now are people not doing the same thing, even worse than that.
Rawlings did not put any systems together. Prof, no credit that Prof, Mr. O.T. they're making.
Can you blanketly say that Rawlings and Putti system be together? Point of making. One more two examples. One more Buzia. One more Rawlings say. Buzia say, Yamma Ghana, I complain say oil, foreigners are begging, gold, foreigner begging, cocoa, or mabegging. It's Yantana Ghana, you are winning Kratabia Chrome. The same citizens now all protect your interest. They fought against him, the seniors of Omka, Buzia, and some money. And all my Rawlings so the SM for discussing with your book now. Yankuma Munaya example more be I want to say corrupt to say stop and change you. So a prophecy, I know but just in the point that the people are the problem, not the leaders.
That's not true. And let me tell you why.
Anyway, let's move on. I don't want to banter him on that. Media, this is my stand. This is my stand. Also understand. The opposite because me say Ghana for you lay blame no on our doorsteps. In the situation a person you blame only leadership no there. Because ankra enyina ka ho e da niema enkoso me wo university am here adwuma baby community am team village am team there is a particular worker here why here adwuma in so many places me time am ekwa adwuma matumi ka am ekwa adwuma no be ho no onenam ha no onko adwuma me why you supposed to go boy messenger cleaner else okwa adwuma onko who take disciplinary action say Asembeba. Mamema another example. Your university land, University of Cape Coast, Asase land. It is being encroached. The land is being encroached. A vice chancellor came. Me can't hold the history of University of Cape Coast in 2002 and 2012 and then 2022. Unim from council minutes information me greening from council minutes vice chancellor any management akofaka or the saying bulldozers abba na okosiki council permission say omo sit down illegally our university land here kwako bubu dan ni nyina egu no omo che council ehon meeting na omo ye na obi edi information ko ma omo bulldozer no kwesi ono na nkrofo communities omo sit down or in the university no ma say bulldozers no so enti enye se nipa take decisions o panifo take decisions o take decision but nipa na e wo that is the point I'm putting across. Won't me for broadcast standard me compare with Ghana. You have maybe I want to so you haven't appreciated what is going on in our country. Who we vice chancellor, the current vice chancellor of the University of Cook. Also auto war are protected encroachment. I buy a tag of war. Ye bonu dia amount for communities no mo ba ebe sabe bot chene ade e di bonu dia because he wants to protect the land. University nya na ma me dia nya ne papa dia. So it's not the question of leaders. It's not the question of leaders not putting in place proper measures or policies. You can put in place the best policy ever, but if the people don't cooperate with you and the people say, that is what I'm talking about.
Which is
Prof. Real quick.
One thing the people say the people are also not University of Ghana. Boss, no protective vice chancellor and protect us as an Ghana, or Brunei.
Efia, the people will always resist. Sana nipa tie. The person me catch a profile and say, yes, I maintain as you, but leadership no means you do it in spite of. That's what leadership is about. It is a will be a leader, not because of culture. We are sensitive to where you bedi me hum konkonsa no be ba bo me dua na nkrofo ko come ho asem ye me kofre and you want to mean ye leader. That's the point that I'm making, because leadership, you bring the axe down. One bring the axe net down. Now Singapore, I know me and Singapore to say Singapore ne. Wouldn't do omo was Singapore. Me kwaya woman can't tell and I'm saying, wow, how can you do that in Ghana?
But you say leader also hear support. You need people to support or buy into the vision. Follow me and I'll make
you they elect you, say, bring change into our lives. We are doctor, me pria, Odi be miami krona ebe me ya, and so you have to heal me. Only when you have healed, will you appreciate say me mia wu krono. Not before. Your problem, they say, Ope say de bian, we are on the good side of the people. Say, mia krono peno kasi me ya penwe ja ino akota. So a krono say,
okay.
They make out here say, iti the powerful can maintain and say 100%. The American say, "Whoop say we leader. You can't me. I'm so thick skinned to say me the all kind of create mystery. Say me be the bulldozer be boo as I say. And then I'm see because my encroach here. Wo be watching na me fa home. Me buni ne ho. Me fa home kra. Me ye we are now be who say because if you see I'm putting your foot down. Now they be worried about culture and sentiment near here. Ye be degenerated to a point, say we're going to be clamoring over each other. Our money be say a begu.
But Kofi, I want to Prof can say where are they betting him for? Sorry, no, my
I don't care. I don't care.
You understand the importance of your context, no? Can I say, baby, I want I am for influence a religion
you can't be a leader. It doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Let's example say even a champ will see down so much. Oh yeah, a operation video. So what would you idea to a champ will be seen there? As if I to beg golf. And from my I mean, he's telling you the reality on the ground.
So what? American Ibeka says, so what? What difference does it make? You are here to fix and make the people's lives better. Say na wo ba be address the issues there won't mean yet. You are not cut out to be a leader, so get out of the kitchen if it's too hard for you. It's as simple as that. Won't mean your leader. Say na wo dwene won't mean your leader. Me we na mo kana because ukwa America when concept na mo ye where then who cares? I'm here to fix the people's problem. Now, if you for way I want cause a problem or Ghana, no one bad that one attitude way bad because woman so be one more they come and they become the most the cooperative, the most positive citizens of to any nation beyond because when you say nation beyond they're not going to be tolerated. Now to Ghana where as I say you try to our university more encroachy you say ya mom pene you say I was a nipa beka ho asem ye do be kwa ahemfo wo ahine no kra no em say there's something wrong with you say obi ba ho no be complaini ye your many ye no obi be catch say kopache o mama because my fast ase na wo di na chi ba me kra me allock o kra kan wo.
But I think the point is the reality on the ground. That's exactly what happens. But if you ever right into your natural resources, why is it at 67 years? Now said you're not poor for your history. So but if you come my 200 million, says can you and a prof for and Kuma kono. Yeah, I've had two professors here on my chair says he can't be in Kuma Egypt and Equatorial Guinea for the money never came back. Says it can be. Say you goat, your oil, your signing. Oil contracts all Ghana in omutua taxes near there. Dodo na abrofo no ko. E dey say sika no ko. Lithium me and say ya ko sign ye kura no po ye kakra no kra. Ye increase your royalties room. O dey carried interest near dey na kan about 90% pay. Whereas ko Botswana, omukro mu ni gold it say omu diamond omu. They are doing 50-50. Even Nigeria pompo awu do omusika no ko mu 50-50-50-51, sometimes 51-49. How can we ensure say resources? Because a lot of people are making the Korea and you start here. Korea for Korea. Why are we still here? Yes, company to your oil. Yes, company they are managing your gold. We cannot even fend for us. What happened? What is the way forward?
It's so simple. If you are Mr. Timmy, Mr. Listen to me. If you are 3 things are you here to develop. Connectivity in the infrastructure into main campus. But you hear competencies and complexities. Now, Korea Asemi Awoken, I went back and looked at Taiwan. Taiwan GDP near GDP was about the same. 67 years on, no. Would in fact Taiwan in comparing, wouldn't be they focused on building competencies and complexities. And on a thing. And only yet the ability of a citizen to have dexterity, say, ability to work at different fields. So, inti, or maybe society no yet very competent at doing different things at the same time, their income level shoots up. Ghana no bebetane sariye na yen yet tony ye no entumi ye no 100 billion kra bebetane boy ye benkutanum ni we na entumi ma yen emiti because if this is the trick ne say dey na wo ya obi ntumi nya ebema wo enya sa unique selling position no to sell at premium to them obebetano ana sariye ana prayer ye de pra. And no, obia betumi aye. Matter of fact, keep your prayer. Your bear vacuum cleaner, a more efficient. Sing prayer no, and mad dust. What you say? Inti bibia ye no. Bronier to me, afa hunyansa aye a more competent, more functional unit. Be a service I need no. Inti ye ni uniqueness. Be a DNA unique. What call Switzerland? What call Switzerland? One back say. They don't make watches. They make timepieces. Inti Patek Philippe, ne Adama PK, ne Longines, ne IWC, nom nom saa nneɛma ni nyinaa no timepieces baako ne yɛ tɔn 150,000 250,000 watch.
Are you saying Ghana you need to be a setting apart?
You
need oil, need gold, need and doesn't it make us unique enough?
Your level of competency is so low. Say, bibi a yen Ghana ye to me ye no, obia to me ye an uncle P to me ye, ewo Africa. Into ye ni uniqueness. Dear if you are there dream home for 1 second. Dear pana Ghana ye to me ya a ye unique a ye penny to me ye. Apart from Chrono, catch them, dear view.
Unique to Ghana, more America, when you saw movie ideas are.
Oh, so at least systems or into the woman form. Now, yeah, DNA. For you see, okay, you the corruption in free. I want to make you happy today. You corruption in free. Dear partner, Ghana, you to me, you'll be to me. Catch them.
Okay, but existing near money, no could be no. Are we making effort to do it the best? Say you bring out the best interest of your crop for now.
And only complexity, no. Inti when you do competency now, with me, yeah, dear now. Then you expand horizontally and you build the complexity. Inti say uko Dubai, uko gold suka, uko gold sukuno. Well, the same gold that ye tuno hano. Or no, enya craftsmanship. No one to me a design gold no to me is so intricate. Say gold that ye 1 kilo. Ye beton $67,000 would Dubai no. Oriene artwork now, so same gold no ye turn $250,000. Ghana ni bia ni honoma obetumi afa a kilo of gold. No add competency up. Now odu up now complexity sideways to the point to say $67,000 1 kilo gold no obetumi nye 250,000. Just here the kwa breachly. And no hono na ekuyen eprayen inti no matter how big we get as a nation. Now Nigeria 215 million people. Bisa I want say one more competencies ne complexity then. Gary na any beans. Ni akoto ni de abe wachi ko bibini ya complexity ye bibia ye duane na ewia ni akoja ye nan ni ye wie ye how na so ate till say ye be ye uko Germany a enye ho ne ye Daimler ho enye say Ghana fo na eto Maybach Mercedes Maybach ya wo de bagane aden na wo to Maybach because Maybach ye $200,000-300,000 more than the standard price Mercedes. So that's what I'm talking because what my complexity no so extensive, so deep. Until they take a craft, we call Porsche. Porsche said, listen, I couldn't drive a sports car that drove in my head the way I wanted a sports car to be driven. So I created my own sports car.
Okay.
Damn.
Okay.
So
we are thinking, but we are not. Prof, I don't know about Prof. Are you aware of you in Nkrumah time and maybe before in Nkrumah after that? Yeah, minerals need to say gold, cocoa, ne. I don't think that's time here too oil. Maybe although me who documentation time, he went to Parliament. J.H. Mensah was talking about the presence of hydrocarbons in Ghana, which means they were oil at that time. But you are aware, at that time, when you sign your oil, your cocoa contract, near they gold now. Percentage is saying, do you have that information?
Yeah, I fear my main can't assembly free say. Said the Kwaku Kwati AC can't any money fan. Or cannot said the assess yay Africa, a coffee quantity, yay Africa for no. I say yay Africa for no. Ye ne abrofono, ye no more ye pet. Enti the ese omo 8 million no ese yensu 8 million sa na you refi say abrofo no abeto yen nananom nkoa e de omo akọ develop omo economy on say the greatest asset of every nation or resource of every nation any human resource and nipa on be fa omo free Africa Ghana included was the claim de la claim nipa no na omo ye atitiri omo nim deɛ ɔmo ba emerwafo ne nkokorafo especially in East Africa so ɔmo invade villages na ɛne obi ɔyɛ sick yɛku ɔmo ne yɛde ɔmo a nkora ne ayi a ɔmo yɛ daakye ma ɔman no ɔmo na ne yɛde ɔmo kɔ me hwɛ obi work ama no me hwɛ obi work one Reverend Dr. Lamte bi ɔwɔ Germany the black inventions and achievements nneɛma black men ayɛ ɛwɔ America and other places. Most of the inventions in all kind of technology in they were done by black people. But because now we charter property of their masters, before no, yeah, must almost or deeper about slave no, about wakwano. Only dinner that also. It's at the baby away ye pretend to the dinner that so. Now aqua say or no, and yes, I didn't so there. Me call me PhD at University of Birmingham. My research was on elephants. I look at the social and economic significance and cultural significance of African elephant. Me who said I think I didn't know it. Congo. Na enipa ho no omo ya afen side bi afen na ye de no yetrim no omo de sonsen eya afen so many years ago na nye broni kra na de breye ye nananom no na omo so e wo nimde na ye be fa omo koto omo nkoa e na omo de omo nimde na nka omo de be boa ma ya develop no a white man or the advanced country maybe ono was say America and as Britain no they are 200 years ahead of us in terms of everything. It is now that we are catching up. And then again, or the same, you say free SHS. Education is a weapon for eradication of ignorance, poverty, and diseases. Akin Sami Nekai, if you read the foreword of Akin Sami, that's what he says. Afena education, Emra independence, Nipa do do say na educated. Nkrumah, omo ofa omo krade omo ye ministers no. No me middle school leavers. Krobody say and others. Some of them were middle school leavers. Later on, krado buzi anom time no. In the power of fire, how many of them and na akọ school eduru achire koko ye duano efritete a obroni Portuguese for buy on be free hanom from Cape Apollonia to the mouth of River Volta no Cape Apollonia in the west to the mouth of Cape River Volta na ewo east na almost say go almost free to go coast because na nipa no gold wo ho no ya nananom no obudi adwini omo ye adwini omo design ko me papa ne ringa na hye no ne ring o maja me ring wo ho ka me de shema ho ne ringa na hye no na ne din na egu so ne yefre ne ya oberema na ye design ne din no ya twere e ho na ye nipa na wa na ye but gold no untimi enkasa wo de ne nyina o process na organ ha ne o goldsmith wa ha untimi process ne just obakwa koton bi e wo amana no wanya sika. Do you get me? Cocoa no who factories na o ha ni nyina wo ye ni cocoa factories wa but ye ntimi enka say ye process ni nyina ha this okoton bi so ho the senka ye na nka ye timi ye factory enye disadvantage ye nya because of colonization any slave trade ni niam a ma the claim de la claim of our society human resource ye de onko gu ba bi onko develop America and Caribbeans and Britain the keke ka ho and nka say nipa nyina tena ha and om do munim de tena ha nka bia yen cocoa no ke betumi process because na ye nananom no om ye goldsmith om ye blacksmith any ade and ya be sankofo we nyina do mako enti se all kan ma onfa European standards no and that's American standards no onfa me ye yastic and find ye je. You get me?
Yeah, but so at the time, no, your gold near there, no, did that play any role? Say, do one apple the above for instance, even after your independence, contract, yes, sign your gold that do one.
Yeah, just there. Adiachi, a bebre, I say bebre. Nesenka beginning, no. Ye dwene shakan ye dwene ehwe kan na ye ka say ye koko no ye be pekwan bi ye be process no nyina ye nko ton ma brof no na ye be ye no ha na ye chocolate ne ne ma ye be nya derivatives ye be nya free koko no mu ansa na ye de akoton but entimi anko ba na sa because ye enipa kura na akọ school ye say 1952 and he established University of Science and Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Omo na anka omo be boa ya me ya nipa do send the choir nipa do choir we school no ti se me nua ogina o we school obetra Ghana anka ne nim dia o kan o de betra Ghana o de te Britain na o de te America so ahụ dị emeche no bebre na omo adwane na omo kọ omo anya nim die no anom de akọtena aburuchire omo wi ana omo san be criticize ye ama ya ntimi anye enema ne bebre but say no de mo adie de omo ni nkọ de aka ne de ye bo ho ban yam say na na do by education ye de aba no e kire say say ye custom robotics ne ne keka ho eti bi ani mfie edum ne mfie du achi no ye betimi apress ye nema no bebre ye resources na ye no ye tu a ye export no in its raw form na mom no ye be process na aye refined product ne so ya so yakoton ana say ye niska
which is that any Korea for ne say one out kind South Korea and then I asked now what feeling robotics near David.
I don't know America na on TSS say ye nsuban no so ka ho bi so ho de emeche no ye nsuban no ebi ne corruption ayeye ebi ne say abro we yetrim so ho mama won hwe so obi bebre na America say obi nana or say obi nana owia spare parts and sense or say ase no what we do e monaship no akwakoto ni nyina ka ho bi na amo ya ntimi anko ya nim na ye ni Korea for the start here Korea emra ya adwuma me makan newspaper ma TV obi ano o see supermarket e wo Korea nipa akomu omokoto ye adwuma omokomu omokwa ye adwuma na ebi nso koto nema na supermarket no e collapse ya ekum nipa ye try no de ne tumu be Ghana ha ye wo ha e na ofre ne saying obi si dan e na me komfo e koto ye wo Accra okay esi
Malcolm disaster
e ba ye no nipa na Achimota me comfort e de na de ye omo e na nipa na osi dan no e de na ye omo nyina ne nam ho so ho de emeche no enti e different places omo Korea for no emra no it will whip you in line emra ne chewa na achew obi antimi meka bibia judge bi nkoje bribe prosecutor bi nkoje bribe but ha no na anu ya ye say yes say state attorney grana wo yo mi case na o ye say okoje bribe ama say Ghana is it what they say judicial service or say Ghana law something una here law betimi akai almost say almost is the license for Ghana legal council general legal council say you freeze the certificate it don't mean any license don't mean practice. These are the things that have been going on emma omo no different from us hono emra no ye adwuma pa no ya hwehwe emra no enso emra no enye adwuma nipa na omo eso omo na ehwe so omo hwe ma de ma etuto yie no omo enye ne yie so ho asam no kura ba obi timi tutu ntima ekodwa to awo hini bi no hini no so akọ ka kire nipa no we ya menu we mi
Prof, I wanna obi in fact there are two comments.
Yeah, kasa.
There's one comment Abranti Obakoka say or supporting the whole prof who can say nipa no to count because if you look at last elections now areas so cry and another year so enforcing galamsey and MPP for no do which means that Chroma for Nankasa yempa the pack say the whole can but profitable there's another profitable. The other comment is also that the onus is on all these leaders. Abranti Obakoka or Sunday by no or see so and pennyphoning now almost in science our contract or more what's now failing to enforce laws here okay examples are okay now what happened to them because in Kabakwa example them rana mutai and then your politics and Kobiba or not to be a say and run away so they won't repeat the error so they are both sides that people are doing I say
na Rollins beye eno na Rollins beye also buy no obeline omo app say you try omo ebinim say kangaroo court ebin say you try omo kra and you line omo app former heads of state military leaders you bo omo tuo and you ku omo that should have been an enough deterrent Emma Ghana for then could be any corruption obi be transfer but you make it transition into democratic rule because Emra Rollins one of the TV stations ewa Accra Ephraim me interview as a historian no busame na me ma history na me na enipa no pese people were calling in to say Rollins by obekum krofo but ono wawu asumdwe mu ka me condemn no and I say why do I condemn him me to be condemn no because wawu ya mamre no ma ye kwan say obi kura wu a ye den obi a wawu de kan ho asem bone enti as a Ghanaian born and bred in Ghana here, I cannot go and condemn Obi Awawu. Why no? History no can. History doesn't have. You don't have to be judgmental in who present facts. No? Do you get me? As they are now presenting facts. Na omo chie o anasa omo be kind no. Omo na be make omo judgment and omo conclusions. Papa we ade obey there and say emfata. Enyame mu a me ka asem no ana me try there no. And of course there is a debate about it. If you say you condemn, we say me condemn. But me I don't think say I have to condemn as a historian. Ebasana, you be writing about history. Ebasana mafo kura ho a omo ani enje se be kan de wo betra na say de wo ka ko beti. Yes, Emra oba beku Rollins buy obekum sampani fo we. The next thing you see free mu say obi ba ma omeye sam information ni bi. And so there you make it transition from military rule to democratic rule. Afia na niam na kra agye nsemu. So afia kra na niam na agye nsemu. We see what politicians do and what the citizenry do. That is my problem. Enipa no say obi so oton adewe na wa anko ankota obetimi aton am na yeye so obi so be ma bribe wa anje bribe na yama bribe bi yama bribe bi a but the odema any the auto no nyina omo ani age so mbeji and na kofa problem ya de e de abreye na we yenso so a they say ye do kokota it take so many years they open it 7 years judge no crack for retirement so obi ne ko wi a ofra ne saying okowi abode ana okowi abrechira ye de ko court adi fo ana so dibe when your lawyer am na defend it so me difference me wa asem ka yes 10 adi asem na ko kan ya judge ne so ka so 10 years na back of big man in the society obetwetwe asem no akọdebra sa eventually ni eja no eti there will be no justice served so eti the me meka nyina ne say achia ne mui na mom no say me educating kolani ye na ye emphasize on nationalism patriotism ne ade a ebi a ne e bom pa yen so sire nyame a ebi a ne ma besesa da achi amaye
yo prof
na kolana e do ma ko school ne mom no meka kire me nua ne say ma onfa esi o Britain onfa de esi o America ana Singapore ne ade no ma ye mfa nye standard or yardstick to judge Ghana. Ghana so abeki headway despite all our difficulties. Me, I've traveled to the east, I've traveled to the west, I've schooled in the west. I know Middle East and everywhere. Yes, so you be you meet me I there. And they are Friday. As I can say Ghana. What's it there?
We are calling the time for one who see now.
I feel also saying. Into the American say, my colleagues remember that the Americans say Ghana so yayebi from 1957 to today yayebi because 1957 so we have pictures the way na Ghana tia and yes na Ghana tia e wo say and garam say and niam bi ikoso a enye apology nsuo ni ade there nenso so no yekoya nim kakra yekoya nim pi better than most countries even outside Africa and most of countries within Africa.
Okay. Yeah. Prof, anything that you want to add to the Prof? Okay.
If Bibia Prof kind on the query, the woman said we on different sides of the spectrum. I look at leadership. Leadership is an absolute phenomenon. You can't cut corners the way I will feel say as I say leadership leadership one line as they would toast our line no one you will never get the result and into the was inconsistencies and the problems because obia per se the nice kid or obia per se meet cultural norms obia per se religiously, or stay within parameter. No, that you can't be a good leader and be Sanyame. You have to do what's right. And understanding say human beings are creatures of adaptation. They will always seek for the path of least resistance. When you want to get them to act in a certain way, you have to constrict them. And that constriction will have to come with consequences. And you have to do it for a period of time. Now, Adebakwa Prof. Rika, I'm totally not in agreement with this style of thinking, which is say America for take 200 years into say yes, you take 200 years. In this world of artificial intelligence, cellular intelligence, augmented reality, and virtual reality, Africa has the biggest population of youth.
I think I just he's saying we are already at a disadvantage point because yet the chunk of your human resource, the Nipa and come never build your mind. We are winning our coin. And as I'm for
that's true.
Black History Month, we put a typewriter, washing machine. Before they invent it, I didn't even know.
If you,
so the point is that some brains when your brains and committing your building your mind. So I prefer you are winning.
And I totally understand that point. Me point American say. And no ain't nipa when we are no doesn't excuse you to have 120 ministers. Does not excuse you say ma galam say any problem I mutilate wo land na I pollute wo waters na a mere wa won my deformed. That's totally inexcusable. Wa kwang na say for 32 years yentumi nye Accra Kumasi wo ba be catch him say one fight young best creme de la creme kwa bruchiri. So what? Listen, in the game of life, you play it according to the cards that are dealt you. Cards are want to deal with you with, that's what you deal. No, it's a no excuse path. I get sick and tired with Ghana Funia Bibimanga de Bia per excuse. Oh no, Bruni na ye sa time netchem ko Obroni aye, ye was Obroni aye. Then the Yeshua to embolden your life, say yebe quantum leap. Niebe ko ye nim yebe cho Broni ho. Then the child say, oh, Bruni, I fight the best to continue to win to. Are you kidding me? Technology is readily available. Cell phone technology available. Computers are available. Yeah, computer Ghana. Yeah, car Ghana. Toothpick cry a crap. Indeed, what's the argument? What argument is the one fight young corner? So where can space technology be a fiber optic crowd Thomas Mensa and farm Magana or Bagana so be fiber optic Magana MPP for Pamono. Because one support in Crawford, our inventions, the best of the best inventors. Any one a junior what the Yama were British Ghana for the best doctors ne were friending medical staff Ghana for were British. Make the conditions favorable. Send a young Crawford walk a British no wabeba. Who's the one yet? My one vote. The ROPA, Representation of the People's Amendment Act, 1 year ROPA now want to mean vote. Send now they will put their money where their mouth is. So must say 1 year. And no, then they have margin. Obroni na befa mu kontina muni adwene amode be ROPA. Wabra Ghana fu put in $6 billion plus of remittances into the country. Say 1 year ROPA. And no, what's the excuse? Inventors near you now are British. If you men pay excuses. Meme life, baby, I will train the many protocol, and you're purely based on results. If you can't play the game, go home. Period. When you learn enough of it and you can play, come and play. Okay. Other than that, don't come and complain. Go home.
Okay. And you know, to say we have nothing to celebrate this 67. Compared to the problem, we have come far. But the problem can say at least there's something to show Ghana or say better than other countries. So because like that's what he's saying. At least we have made some gains.
The only countries we better than are much worse off than us. Does it make sense? Okay. be better than a better country. Don't be better than a worse country. We are on the wrong side of the spectrum. Say, oh, yeah, better sing South Sudan and we Oh, come on. We are better than that.
Okay.
We are better than South Sudan and then winya. Then a winya. Inti say you war na we 1,000 years ago, and no excuse and say yes, celebrate Ghana. What you celebrate what to me in the last 5-10 years, in the last 32 years, NDC and the MPP for buy in the Fourth Republic. Yet to me can proudly say, yet to me young housing, your problem, young healthcare, your problem, young employment, your problem, young education, your problem, young telecommunication, your problem, young transportation, your problem, young markets, your problem, young central business district, your problem, young security, your problem, young recreation, your problem. Sanyama 10 matrix media mawi in every developed nation. No Sanyama 10 in warhead what they build one nation. In 32 years, NDC and MPP into mu we say there's something to celebrate. Then you celebrate. Who better than Maka LGBTQ? I can say you pass a bill into Obia a sovereign nation. Wo mufra nye diani ni. We kwang na say wo manya employment. Wo bibia pansam say be proud of what? Sika kakra ka esa mode ye agriculture. Near the build agriculture, near the build or main. Mode akotena ye 6 March wo kofodia. What kind of people are you? Say mo ye leaders. This is not how leaders think.
Okay.
Leaders think for their people. We want to be a proud nation. Yeah, development. So I'm afraid I want to be in America for 200 years and ahead of us. You know, that being the government tell you, say, yeah, for $10 million, a development fund, what they are startups, what they are computer shops, what they are carpentry, what they are niyama. That being if you want to say why a small business administration, worry help Mufran establish one.
I know the time they tried to do that under EFS saying. It was I bet Kukran and Ayomway.
What started to worry?
They tried to do it. If you're not anyone this canon or hairdressing, dry and omudi scanner, omudi fit
if there is no punishment. If there is no punishment, we have to institute strict guidelines in the punishment. Ever constrict people to an expectation. Why yes, because they be what is the problem? Say we institute punishment.
Okay.
Then the problem.
Very well. Kofi, mommy reading message we say, Erudite say, how is Prof wrong? He's perfectly right. How could we possibly blame only leadership for the problem at Ghana? It's a collective issue. And what happened is the collective responsibility of the people. And also they are there. Right now, they say, the analysis about lack of poor leadership. It is the responsibility of every leader in that position to ensure that there's discipline in that company and people are held accountable on proper performance. And also they are Prince Asante say, if you are pleased, Prof, the most stubborn people on earth can be found in America, but they are lost to guide them. It's not about the people. It's also about leadership, enforcement of rules and regulation. People are really going back and forth about it, which is a good thing. So everybody wants to be part of it because we can't continue like that. Not 67 years solution. Yeah, Francis Corbin as celebrating independence in Ghana is a waste of time and resources. We can use it for something else. Mila say Ghana is reeling under leadership failure, especially now. A leadership and a problem. And Regina say Mahama gave them money. Gave who money? I think less them now can. Yes, left them in the Momuska and confirm this scanning now. We are back to square one. Still complaining about Ghana issues near problem. 67 years of independence. And friends and Michael Abadu want also say Ekufuado has destroyed Ghana completely. Well, before Ekufuado Banagaza, Ghana was also destroyed. And Nigeria go here that and a prophet can a prophet Papa for the woman that no we just pass the mind. That's the argument I pay so make it. But good evening. But the also microphone
And if you remember,
67 years no, do we have anything to celebrate?
me crampo no, him one was say, you could say it's Kadias Adibi. Because who here think a bit this independence way because a woman at Japan's up. Jana says, can almost say, yes, I do. We never found quiet for Fram and I'm more.
Thank you.
I'm so not prof for can say a broken by fire and quarry and go for colonialism near daddy. If you are Ghana, Quania Ko, the Koye. India for a woman could be, China for one could be, if one Ominan could be. Omodi Omono, Omon paying for dominancy from a teacher man, woman, denying. It is a way young penny for him to find and for women and see from Abo man and Yana, and this old Kosha Bruni, Satam Lectum. Uja ho a coy, at the woman share one side. Dean wasn't counting me, Yama managina. I didn't know Frigana, a bedra brooch. We see Konimunan, Ubian come running to the woo, but that wide vinyasa. A dear systems in the year, Juma. It's only a penny for into system move from. So we are bonny a bet was so. Am I a credit upon I and no can simply say, oh no, be this or your hidden. Now, Obeson at 1 penny. Sad the end was here this year. In the say, Ubia bonnet, near Reno, number 4, Ebe Pacho. No, we a penina, said a penny a quakuati, a quakuranti. We a penina, Gina, now so we a penny. The one to bring you now say, we a penny dear, saying Ubia, Ubia, it be trap also. I'm a man, I say. And she am penny for no idea anymore, or mintiming no manasso.
Okay.
It's about time I also am penny for bit me Jen and now so there be. Would you bonny a yacho? Say, I'm run here, you may ya. Judge phone, a seminal on bedin in Tevamania. I'm not going to tell many powerful, yet not to, and I say any baby. It is a sound or more fast institution and to me, and you, my dear. There be a see any bayas armor for 10 years. 30 years beside become one of to be a besides a cramo. And you are seeing an institution, Papa and penny phone to do domination from. Now, they are now a prophet candidate, him say, proper source I believe, because this was getting in. Because on one see where you on one see what you can come a crockery brace when I supposed to come brace. Now I said the same running a juma. Now so be a fair mass. I'm running a juma. I don't know when penny for minding into ships and my branch in Yajuma the same thing. Oh, interesting and penny for any papa we a leader there. I said, you can we a leader or so just we a leader. Men will be in Casse and I why I say it now shouldn't you know? No. And I want to be that.
Yo, mommy, now so we have nothing to celebrate 67 years.
That's it. No.
Good evening.
5 minutes that you have recorded here.
I don't. 67 years, no. Do you think say you will be to celebrate?
Stafia, we the mecha over coffee crate wa kasapa me menjin say we be to celebrate because problem say one ye hia sika na dey solve that problem no na dey na prof kan dey me ne nya adwene ba akokra ni ho a me ne ya adwen because sister Fia Ghana na e wo ho no enye nipa ba akofo di o nyina dey ase ye papa wo yen wo ho na wa ma ya japade ena ye chi ho na panyin na wo mu ka say ye nyi no won hwa japade no so maye what you say ena ye yi no nti ye nim say ye ntimi nhwe ni yi nti ne ye yi ni so mbehwe maye no wa ba no ono wa ba no wasan ka say wono wa ba no ye na nye nti ono so agya ya sa na che say hia say nka ye yi no
Debi o say no kan say Ghana for ya no na lady be send message every day to say no ka say Ghana say ya na do ka so be checking kofo no in fact I no come dey starting Mahama time Mahama started say fight Ghana to omu lose NDC lose 2016 e o Ghana say area 2020 na do ka so be checking omu sa tuti a omu problem point nipa no yam support ya the papa
but sister Fia say ye ka say ye di anu asuro twa na nka bato so hia because one say ye beto aba o MPP na NDC omo ba ye ho say ye nto aba ma omo enye ye na ye ko omo ho say omo ye for omo aba betena so omo na omo atum ya firi ye ho enti no say ye betimi aye ni ye so ye nim say ye fun na we no so nye Ghana ngwa o Germany has sister Fia so ukura onim Germany ha Bola, o ma hwe kora bola, o betu bola gukra. This all separate rubber, paper. One obetua ka, ayi o drive krom 50. Now drive 60. Ayi o na camera atwa twip. What if you the bra you go pay? Ubetua. That's how on na hwe. Sister if you so you the bro 50 euro no one tua hom. Yen view. Ha. Uba betua 1,000 euros. You know, and the amount for the Becca. It's just if only say Ghana for your pecasa, and then I do them politicians, but who say Ghana for your casa. Yeah, it was a French fool. French for more action by a casa. And it's a who say, oh, Baba, president of Ghana. And so, ultimately, you was so who said Ghana for a senepe because yeah, I'm from when I will buy it. And now, of course. I said, oh, so won't you mean not just only penny? Won't you mean your penny money ye? And I said, fear, and Ghana so say, or see ye before I be before by a brutal bay, slavery was a saying. And she on the fire, Emrofono, Omoja, 67 years, no. Na sister fia me kura me ba ga me ba krom ha kura na me ma me no hide dan enso me ba ye no ma ba be matima ye bibia sifia ma me ma me odam enti no omoja ye no 57 years no ye ntimi nye ho say ye be ye bibia akọ nkan ama ye nji se etwen na ye blemu ye nananom ye 21st century na ewe what I say sister fia wow enti no say when blame bi ani ho ayi mpanyimfo abato okra me Ghana kra nka ehia say eto aba ayi panyimu bia bio because say abato say na ya ato no Ghana akoti yesen na de ye Ghana for ye de proud ye hu say ye na ye Ghana ye football ye de ben ye no say say uba brochire before no bebre na akomanim chen ye bebre na ko nkan chen ye nti say ye careful pa say ye to ye hu ye Ghana for because ye ko from Cote d'Ivoire krampo sisafia omo ye chen ye because ma mi kuma ba ko o Cote Burkina no ba Ghana eba fa rubber ayi plastic I know they call Burkina cotton or say kanino no oba Ghana na bi wo but say bi ni ho omo ntimi ye biom this okọ Cote d'Ivoire no akofa
okay. But mama na say come on wakasa say
Ghana ye blame citizen because ye nti na ye nyansani so mbedi ye so nti wo nyansani wo ntimi ngba me kan kire ye say ye nsan emboa wo enye possible ka betima aboa ye ho anka ye nto aba
okay one wakasa wo point what boss remember prof wo hunt remember prof aye ni final kwa but what boss what do you think 67 years
Xavier. What a menka. Oh, okay. Now me say prof no the overtime na menini nyadwe because how long can we continue to blame the white man? Say we be cause a harm. Because say see a be di enu echi dey and they say em go anymore. Every day be I taking responsibility as people. They be no ye be dwane if responsibility no na dey akwahye obroni bi. Meanwhile, you are just freedom mama for the past 67 years. Then nothing to show for. So Kaya, the last time Akufo-Addo called Krobi so no go say above no omuntia reparation and restitution for slavery. So Kaya
I think a US.
Aha. That means that our culture Ghana for say development na ye nyeni na no still na ya above na cause ye. But problems now about cloning now on person be taking responsibility.
Okay.
And Prof Saka say, ye enjoy leader no, name blame a subordinates no. And no meaning
I say two, or say two, leadership and the people too no.
Yes, but say glory no so bad. Sana ye can say, oh, yenfa maba yenfa 50 ma subordinate no yenfa 50 ma president there be ye the 100% ni na akoma leader no
prof member also mbacho member
ana osaka say ma yenfa US standard ana Europe standard yenfa jeji Ghana because democracy no it's very young I say but yempenyifo no so hu omo no motiti radio so a they be no refer, oh, go to the US, go to UK, go to China, no site, all these foreign examples. I don't know moon quote go to Togo, go to Benin, go to Ivory Coast. I don't know moon yes sir. Indeed, I say pick and choose analysis because in nano ye blaming omu government intino. And maybe by now must blame ni na enfan koma leader. And that ye enfan koma subordinate. Ye nya yes a double standard. Me da say fear.
Yo, me that's what boss no pointer. And you will make it prof. Now who got responsible?
Yeah. Why does he say a double standards and not me display? I'm not doing politics. You didn't. Who was blaming Mahama? My question, if he really listened to me very well, he was attentive and he listened to me right from the beginning. I may say from Nkrumah to Danado today, we cannot put the blame on the leadership, but individuals. Me cite examples from pre-colonial time. Emra Bruni Baye. If they have been left of intellectual understanding, no one said the American has said now by politics. I don't want such to have a debate with such people. As far as I clear, I'm saying say ye to be emblem leadership and then we are looking at it from historical perspective from 1957 up to today, and we have cited examples of all the some of the leaders. Auma Baberu, I mentioned Rollins, I mentioned Nkrumah time, I mentioned before Nkrumah, and I mentioned the Marco School what do you mean? Can't me say what the British standard? Baba Ghana say, and as I make say yanka say. Or they say abrofono be fire yen nananom no mum na no na affect no. You cannot tell me say I'm wrong and na wo kotra wasi down mama o mama wo tia brochire wo ko wa be si down mama me che Ghana me kotra brochire. I only went to Ghana to school but me si down me ensa me wo me class be me ensa. So what is he talking about? Me Ghana have been called baby but here I me aduma me
he was making prof. I think come out.
I mean, you should call a spade. You should call a spade a spade. The point is that so won't say the air can say. You won't say the air. Don't come and do politics. I'm not doing politics here. You called me as an intellectual, and I only made a historian, and I made my historical analysis. Historical analysis. I'm doing. And your politics na yeah. Who they will say who perspective they say a leader in the emblem you can say Bibiana Nado me and then where I have to tell you say and as I can say LGBT issue by a bit of say Nado no say this is the court Supreme Court what they call Supreme Court because of concern expressed by the Americans and diplomats no it's only the only arbitrary that a bit of call Supreme Court only call Supreme Court not Supreme Court to determine didn't I say it here men can or I say now me support all mama say na don't sign law no and sana say Supreme Court to rule as a Supreme Court be a rule no so against the fundamental human rights of some people and sana I face no ebe notify law no na nullify no name no so parliament pass law no almost sign. What is Germany? Ubetimi compare Germany today to Ghana. And opportunity Germany I standard. Edi ababe judge Ghana. I'm not for German standard, and for American standard, and for British standard. Uko Britain, uko baby. A few uko Brooklyn, America, New York, baby uko who say a few pa we call Canada. August last year, we drew baby me who potholes. Halifax. And I'm a call me who potholes. More mama here. Sani amano and TV so no make out America now. Now we impose American standard. Or no, I will why don't you come to Ghana? Now we have 1 year in I develop Ghana. I got to America and I got to Germany. Now I got to toilet soon or prepper. And so we don't know the church. These are things we don't want to hear. If you come and condemn me for what I'm saying, I'll also tell you said do you get me? Uba cancer more. But don't come and tell me said the me canon. When you mean I say do you get me? I'm telling you, say historically, no, abrofo ba ye na no eba omoba ye before no ye gidi say oye ohoho no waba ona nani a waba di no de obepe bia no ye mu no kwase a ye nsisi no and ya carry on with that adwene no mindset no and ye de aba post independent no eti post independent na ye ya ba be do say no ye kwan bia ya bia ye pese ye sisi ye nua. Is that not what I'm saying? Am I defending government? Am I here as a government communicator? Sasem na me pese beti oti Britain na oti America na oti baby a don't come and say oti ho na ho no ye Rosemount ye nyina Britain na America na ye ba ho me pese be tra America ka be tra America me pese be tra Canada sia beti ba be tra Canada but I feel say it behoves on me as a Ghanaian to develop my country. Who develop who country? But nowhere is better than home. And now Obi can say, "Who call here Ghanaian inventors? Ghanaian why?" And then what was your day? What you invented? Be now from my home, now for develop Ghana. But you are always quick to criticize government. Government to be about Ghana have been from Kwame Nkrumah to Nana. If you look at history, Obiaya condemn when the president is there at the time the person is ruling, or you're the worst president. Office local president before at the time president before the first time I was in Ghana from 2001 to 2004. I was in Ghana. But 2000
should be able to ignore any commentary from the people, because the people who always criticize.
But you are. Buddha Mami making me point. He did everything. But yes, he was the worst president. People were saying that. And then people are saying that President Kufuor is one of the best. Always we are quick to tell people, oh, this thing there. People interrogate at the end. Uncle seeking evidence, no, and cross check. It was as no kind of plan. Based on facts, not all speculative, based on the via watching the radio, so they're watching a look. Whatever I am telling you, I am basing it on what I have read, what I have seen. And so if you come and tell me, say, it's about leadership, now Bibiano should be blamed on a leader, then you are equally wrong. Then you don't know what you are saying. You can't blame.
Prof. Well, where you know class and quackudum. I'm say, Prof, where you didn't edum no. My me first say answer na coffee my boss because this is a good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good. My meeting you say so. Prof, where you need do me anti patcho check your phone, mommy. Say so, Kasa.
Yeah, Prof is just embarrassing himself this evening. I'm quite so surprised. Obio free academia now.
No, to open a perspective now, all canon. He's upset into you are not understanding him. Or say from independence all the way to today, and your leadership and the citizens renew code together. That's his point. Moon put it in perspective. He's not saying say leadership should not answer to the people. He's saying say leadership, any citizen in the Nimi, we all have a role to play in Ghana, baby. And that if we support our leaders, you know, we can buy into their dream and we'll get the best results. That's his point.
Who is telling you that Ghanaians are not supporting their leaders? Is the leaders
example I make it so one say we fought the leaders, we fought them. Health insurance president could fought it, but we fought him, and now it's benefiting us.
Do you think, say, when you come to UK or you go to US, what do you say citizens they won't love to do what they want to do? Is the system that is keeping them in check? Could be a bit the but if Ghana will be a penny freedom, now we leader now so open freedom timonya the mopa. So be a bit and that's not about the citizens. A leadership. Ghana, your problem is with the leadership. Basically, I'm saying, audience say Jerry Rollins time aka Saga and say Kosu Bekosu. Kia kunku ni panibi. That's what Ghana.
That's the time not corruption because you couldn't do anything. You only wrote a white paper to cover people. Cutting quality grain assembly. I say you couldn't kill anybody. Quality grain. Jerry Rollins over
Let me tell you this. You do a comparative analysis between Jerry corruption time recently corruption. Recently, no true saying Jerry time corruption is not scared.
Because we're under military rules. So you are not looking at the thing in perspective. We were under military rule. Nobody was speaking. We didn't even have media people. You bet me investigation to say the to me independent investigation and cover near man. Alaji and Alaji, radio universe. Or no pen I know to me question Alaji, or no pen I know to me question Rollins. There was no accountability, no parliamentary committees. I checking the anti patrol. That's why you didn't hear anything. But the biggest corruption was under Rollins. Sika Edimaya for structural adjustment programs.
So are you trying to tell me say in Rollins massive corruption than era Mrs. here?
Go and look, because there was no accountability, no transparency. The military rule, even before 1992, even after 1992, which committee, which investigation are we? I just a Shrad, Shrad found out that there was corruption with the quality grain transaction. The person was jailed in America. Shrad report on Mutuba, President Wallace, your white paper cover Shrad report. Sometimes I need a refugee.
Well, whichever way, but the person and say, Prof, in some more canning, no me, I don't buy into it. Why is it no be as more a car? Does it be a profit? Be a canals or Kaka or PBA because in some more canning and in so. And I say we and our citizens and I say blame leader yeah leader so be national cathedral and contribute cathedral anyway. That's what about this one. Blame the leaders.
That's all. I know the mini baby our question. Who share network in your cry?
Oh, we shouldn't allow our leaders to be they should.
So, and now network in your cry. I don't know where you were. Can't even hear the whole canning in full. So, we're in a different position. I'm I don't know where you are standing today. And our network need to try into your whole sentence because we are not getting the full sentences. Gina another place. For the where you need perfect, but not there. It's bad. Over Jerry, mommy, good evening.
Good evening, if you say.
Adum.
Well, yeah, my input kakra me de to say. Prof no kaje say ya ne obi me ne nyadwen. Asema boy ne be kan ya wagina no asi bone a kiki na metegana na mekra metranga na mesi dan miensa to ka miensa. That's not what we're talking about. Obi Ghana or no I am more than what you have done. I
think that to be fair to Prof, I think sometimes if somebody comes here in their own right, not say sometimes Obi possibility in a way Prof pan or Katasi. So I want to Obi perspective as here, you shouldn't belittle the person. He got upset because now I say, yeah, belittle as a professor there, but he's making an argument.
He was an analysis or based on historian a year actual past events. Or which makes sense, or starting from Kwame Nkrumah way down to Rawlings up to Akufo-Addo. All right, but as some boy and it wasn't attack, any personal view, any input. No, say. It may not be expecting as a professor, no bar. You pick some points and then you straight them up. But one can hear and say, oh, there be a one TRCSC. Now say na me patre. Now watch them. But when you come up that aggressive, now they're before banner, it makes some of us and we also get mad at you. Not meaning say, there's something I would defend it. But yes, I'm not because
no, also Professor was saying, he's the only for academic person. And this what can be any idea. I'm painting it or Kasama baby. No. Example from a Nkrumah basin.
He's not a politician. Why politics? He's not speaking for MPP. He's not speaking for NDC. Ono the past event history. And all my say, all cast or man baby, we shouldn't blame the leaders alone. But the young individuals in the account and no man and cost, which is 100%. As some way, I think second Japan crack and maybe say I'm changing the mindset of our server. There's no way you can find used to grab a gun on me. Because finances is here, Obidnam Ghana, what non pure water, or take more taxi, can't economic what. Say Ekobo be say moving no ejatu from no discipline. It is until that's hadn't be better Ghana. But none Kofi Grant train say as a leader, there are certain laws you have to enforce it. So why I enforce what? It can never work. Knowing Ghanaians say, if you are Obakra, I will not transfer. Sometimes akola ye bibi no antiana onia obaya akola bone. You have to be able to control and then talk to your son or your daughter, your child. Say, listen, baby, and that is why we've chosen a leader to lead the country. And then another be enforced on media deal. As a matter of fact, he came 3 times. It no one mean say or person leader because
exactly.
Oh, be man say o man etia. It mean kwakuado me ba me beje o man no my ye. It is a bibia ba na nya. We're going to blame you. Because Emran says so now executive power. Say Yebeka say Nanado betima sorry or Chirano Park say Ghanaians should sleep at 8 o'clock from tomorrow onwards. Or best sign into law is going to work. I dear bet you police in so jabet tears groom say or Mantanis will be at 8 o'clock. Why be after 8? You'll be arrested. Meboa. Until you have the executive power. In a year can I say, baby your man direction a year con sometimes as a leader you have to take a drastic decision. Decision is unpopular. It is all bejana be yes sir. Maybe I once me I want legacy be na will leave. Now look at what is happening. Modi yede bill parliament both NDC and MPP agree. They both agree and brought to you on your maybe a can say you are waiting for them to pass in the family or dex. So I have the video. And then I didn't know that. So what are you waiting for? You, the same person, campaign say you don't support, you are not in support of self-defense or Bani Bema. It's a better on somebody who advocated as a whole Christian who crowd you who say was a Ubesia sorry damn and young coupon. Come on. And can deal with with Dex, so I just a matter of second.
Okay.
You don't have to sit there and wait, say, Supreme Court to court. It makes some of us feel like, come on, is he in support of this? Now, yeah, come on, I can say, no man, just idea we are to. Now, some question, same way, see a crew more. Nebesi gun and they won't like it.
Then they see where you crew more. Now, say LGBT for more that. I'm going to social media, I'm going to life. If you cry your content, go for it. Any other, then they see more that.
LGBT for population in Ghana,
so you just don't know them.
What I say, out of 30 million, out of 30 million population, how population?
You'll be surprised.
They say no more. What did they do? Hiding nobody sees. It is a one family. It will keep them behind closed doors. So many That's a would send a scepter for a chromo for a year. If you're Jensen.
Okay. But there's somebody who's saying that John Campbell question or say the bill is not the issue. The again we're Ghana a come the hospital ambulance cry was here the fire for you they find a more any they have everyday issues. So what LGBT it's a waste of time. Professor can be we are wasting time or something.
I feel my mini crash and answer now see. Once all say ambulance near the hospitals near the your health system no a bad poor. It is hard the way say I'm fam rama nasa stop what you know amount of people on the it is another day the next form. Every leader, mama or but
LGBT is that what you're saying?
Yeah, hospital bed, yeah, chroma for no moving. They have medications. So good doctors.
Who accident Ghana accident going to me so we are quite papa. Every young from fast crying to me. And you never be who.
Sad way. To me, it's more important that more important say they will block it and make sure say it goes to law. Who think I am a punish show. Now you just had way to your Ghana we are doomed.
Okay. What I Jerry Mammy not because Nigeria for passing LGBT law 2014. Nigeria for celebrities social media memo madani ma. Passing the law no will not change anything. There are things that they probably won't even think about. What I say? Nigeria for passing 14 years. There were fans more than Obia in Nigeria. So passing the law has not changed anything in Nigeria.
Because Nigeria passed the law, they couldn't enforce it.
Nagana I ball a law, I'm going to enforce it. Now I'm going for the LGBT.
And the Bisake, mammy, of a cane at the other.
Okay, Nana, no ball a crame and for ball and to form. Yen to me enforce it. Ye proper. Yen to me, Odonna, yen to me every day be a show be a year fire or Ghana. Now you're not to me enforce here for LGBT. Now why them now? One contain and have a cockroach on it, Bema. I don't know, but what came I meet you over
Stefia Mitchell. Stefia, I think a prof some of a kind, you probably bring to prophecy, but the prof can prof you're right. A coffee grant, yeah, son is some of a cano. Onya a DBN the organa that, and a young of a casan is same now can. So we're not position. No, Otigana, no, Adiana, or Ghana.
Odiabanti or Banti company on Cantia. Company,
but Onya the position be like MP, like minister be. Like what that sister na ko said, Uti different from so koma yeah okano. Stefia wafajeri kasano or say Rana beto or my penny abeto ni table so enya ne kre enkoi Rana emfa go to the table so so on
I know can once my head nya release statement
but enkoi on who say na Stefia say who say ekrom ha no institutions no it's working on entina nanado ba no kasanka MMDCs ni ade no anka yento aba kaya saade na ka Stefia ka ne ma bebre besesa say yetimi yes ade na ka yetoto aba DCs ni ade na ka ne ma bebre besesa because imagine say ekrom here ye wey me barra me wono labor na hweso enti say labor wo me barro no hweso be make sure say mrana wo me barro no mrana be ye adwuma. These are the things us Ghana no ye here because NDC and a share me fan say Greater Accra NDC na mayor wo ho obe make sure say mra bia wo ho bia no obe make sure say be ye adwuma ma mra oto ade wo ha unya saade no obe hwe say de be obe hwe say ne party so be ebenya abema ba but say ya nya ne ma bi say party a Ghana no say ya na be ko na sabe yan so ya be kromi ha so say de ya dwene tie Stefia na ye wo ha ya kwa Ghana sesi a de Ghana for ye na no bi na Ghana for be hwe say baby na say almost baby a me fie wo no omo de ekọ computer so ne ade nti omo gime side plan ne ade sika Stefia sika ya gime no na me bisa omo senti sika na mo je no mo ba ma me receipt na omo ka chem say we de receipt bi ani so ho me so me tia me so me pese me gi receipt na me say sika na ya gime no ekọ aban ho ebi cross kan omo gino kra nya nyina na yakọ aban ni ho ba omo ka kira me say we ni de afi na ye be ye de yiri na ba system so de be ya ye be ma motua omo si ye be tuatua na ye mebi but could you imagine enti say so enti asem no ka no say so your mentality no say your mentality no so timi sesa because if you prof asma okay doctor dampare bae ye na ye bo na ba so se oba e ro ba be sesane emabi ono ba be sesane emabi but ono before so ono be ba so na wo empayinfo bi o mo aba ye hu se Ghana ye police no niema nkoye ba dampare bae no dampare atu aba sesane emabi nti mo ye di adwuma be hye mo nsal mo so mo na so mutimi make sure sa mutimi sesane ma enye o man panyin na de bia no ye de so bo ne bo no no wo ye ne sa dia ye wrong.
Okay.
Enti mo ye sesa ya dwene.
Yo. What okay, mama ask you. Also say people no can. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Stefia.
Mami Tio.
I'm say the debate yes, people need leadership and I'm person me can cry. I think from the fundamental issue the people need leadership will be account. But Oshe say the bema results are leaders because nipa dey say it's in human nature will be a ebe dey no better no from traffic lights to just BBI even COVID the by cry. Ya shemra say upia bia ye be fine one as bi anka nipa be pi etimi me woni say ejina leaders no because I say meaning US I will know say ko tijina ko check traffic light because who nim say utwam a e be twaw uto ani atro na bro what I say eti bibia ye leaders to build up these things for us na nipa no we have no choice than to obey. But for the mentality there, I think it starts from even from our schools. And Kwalani now say it started even at this time. I'll say some courses I bet certain things are because me can't anytime I'm about Ghana no. I think differently, and then you have a fault, on this side because I don't know about Tom. What I say, and but my main and be on one 7 kakra because. Maybe me stand say they are on sign and I'm in sign, but on the reason now, me man, and I'm in here for say in Yasika be near them because and yes, says can never magana EU because Sika you lose it from corruption every year. It's more than Sikaya any that way. It is on sign based on principle of human rights. Okay, yes. But man in Fanka say, if your finance minister say, you business cabinet here almost for my that's all I want to say. I'm going to be right.
When do Mamina was to be no way ya also watch your views on this issue. Brako, good evening.
Good evening, Sister Fia.
Mami Tio Brako.
Sister Fia, me pacho me better me chair professor so. Say ye be say ma ye kasane ye be say ma professor Tiaze say bi wa ha nye politics ne ye wa ha. Ye pe o man ye nyina so o man say bi o kire ko ye ti say landing ha ya me tia me ba Ghana me piano jo 12 o'clock 1 o'clock kra me mfa ho. Enti ye o man ne ye pe ne nye politics ne ye wa ha sei. Enti Sister Fia o hwe Ghana history me person perspective no history no o man panyin bia no a wanya the support of the people than Nana Adotankwa Akufo-Addo when it comes to fighting corruption.
Okay.
Yeah, near wa brochire nie nim say hey Nana Addo oba ha mi ko hobi ye lala sulala mi sina na monye mukwa omo mu wie esika Nana yesra munchi omo prison munchi Nana wo to me or say the support of the people or say Nana president didn't want to mean but he had the support of the people. Yati ase young people na dana ye to abama oni ne no call contract say Nana me metra and yes anti ye bibia no yes and the Supreme Court kan ho ye the parliament kan ho ye the IGP ni soldier for bibia say Nana wo we nyina ye de o man ho beto no
afa ye adwuma no
yes ebe sin ne anoma bakura na prison ewo corruption ho clear where are they are still
but na prof catch us say opuni case here omode so bobo ni said down work 7 years because court dey dem for bin to make you must prove.
Yes, even in democracy, there is still the center who are there. They are to me. Sister, who your man pen you to me.
I'm to me in jail be when there's no evidence.
I know you bet me at backyard and not president me ye juma. And they see ya didn't go to feeling gadochi ye na you no mind him. eti omampanyi hwe uko alasa watare no wo Ghana ko hwe niema waye wo Cote d'Ivoire obi anka hwe nkyere uko Rwanda na me read amnesty report before Rwanda on sister if you ever shock you adia papa na ye okrom ho no ho
yeah wachichi ngofo bebre
me say I read it myself me kind no I want me school library me university library and I'm saying wow these people are in Africa and America for no mo ko che no and ye krom no mo ba be yes ya LGBT hwan ya mo ma ye sika nto aduane ni sister fia 67 years
I don't know what's Jessica. That's the question. 67 years.
60, my sister penny or pension will chroma 67 years or 63 years. No whole tunnel. Obia by 67 years, no one pension 7 years ago. Ghana and think I pension money. Social housing you ever cost now you quite benefit near the hair bra. And woman anything and they doesn't know IMF.
Exactly.
I don't think you're quite IMF. You're quite.
And you should not say gay law because
ah, what me go kata kwa say o catch romo because omo say you o ma yo omo ma ni yie obi adidi man ho to no ene Ghana nipa say na didi mo ho to mo Ghana sister fia mo kan no kure edi ba kakra bi what enti professor yes sre no enye se ye politics ba ye pese ye kire say o man panyi ya ma to me 67 years aban bia na sister fia o ko historical perspective na 1966 almost two aban gu ya NLC ebedi ade no there was leadership crisis enti na ankra ba no corruption
yeah they accuse them of corruption too
yes.
yeah
leadership the ankra wo ye omu kotoka wo ye corruption no and omu yi ni free na ankra mo ba 1979 tama buzi amuso ba no de na si Ghana ansa na soldier for a champion mo be pamo na free ho
69 no yeah
yes ansa na tama lima mo so ba ye e de na si ya JJ Rollins be pamo wo mo a leadership crisis in Ghana
we've always had a leadership problem and now
yes
okay.
Yes
I think that's the same point that na professor making no
hwewuni aye kokromoti a usan ho bopa enye aye kokromoti ba ko pedi leadership sister fi me one example na me ko Mr. sister fi me example ba ko pe na me ko uko Kumasi a wo hu abobo yaye wo hoyi in Ghana there is no law governing those people mahwehwe emra upon emra even in KMA say emra ba na makwa
because obenibra at the time I emra no na abobo ya bia ni Ghana so they didn't do it in contemplation of abobo ya
there be on say local council no crack and make bylaws
yes
but amanye almost aban bi ba no so almost sesangum ye beto aba mun famra na moma ye adwuma na munyi sika na munyi sika mu mbotom and almost start here e dey ka say leadership yes professor say oman ye peniye obie no oba ha be politics say ochina Ghana there be e oman ye e dey oman akoma mra form na ye third fourth for ye ba amen
yo bravo third fourth for ye ya tin go for so twem brasam good evening Mr. Yabo good evening brasam tina se ma me na me
good evening mama Pepa Chotinka. And where the medawasi na mazma kakakra. Na edin kind of mechia prof. And Kofi Cranting. Omu mienuna eka asankrona na the attorney say Obia chef from a very different perspective. Now, Osha profile. The professional opinion no ubusan say independence ye class ye celebrity and or recount from the historical antecedents from Nkrumah time no the above bedru na ado ye yemre na ohwe ninsam na okan ni bia bebre me ne ya dwene because Nkrumah independence ni ba ye no obe kan yi si ho otin ho a independence no nya ye no adeɛ paa na sɛ nkehia sɛ Nkrumah ɛso yɛ no wanyɛ amwae me fast ball mo no or the reason why yes but for example or decide say Britain for now what palm on my free or mine only almost several relationship. But cutting all kinds of relationship with them. Fine. What cutting all relationship with them are I didn't know language there. Oh yeah no. Oh yeah no. National language. I didn't know one say or mine benya a lingua franca. Kasa Ghana ye kasa bebre. Akabeti for kasa and back say I can't say God what decide is way ya pam abrofono ya mpese no ability be and your kasa you be useful and then you have to try the one national and official or maybe anywhere what develop or mine you know or be anywhere what develop or do obi kasa and then lingua franca.
Okay.
China, Rwanda, Malaysia, South India, how mine are born in I'm a cabra for Ghana is a second language. Obia on a lingua franca. Ghana, yeah, lingua franca na. And I'm seeing far because I affect a woman's fear. The way I see child dear elbow from Sia dear Ebedu University. It is not coffee, for example, competencies and complexity. Obey then what me competency no benya signing piano or brand new workers and a day dear. But will be cast a day no. A muntiasian and yet is enough for me.
Okay. And do you think a lack of development?
A major problem, major mistake and come.
Okay.
A major problem, maybe a teacher new Kuma. Land me and the child. Okay. So Uko Wilsa. Wales is here, another is part of UK. But Wales, Uko, the worst language in the child.
The worst language in the child. Oh, I see.
I'm English, all right. The worst language. There's a reason for that because him say no. So who see a develop skills. Language matters. Because China, the language the same BBI and BBI. And it shall be our developer could do.
Okay. Okay.
As a problem affects up to today. A new BNY, what back, what can say? There was a minor use of the Casa, even education system, additional year, education, a dear many part, it may take a normal cinema the right skills.
Okay,
and no, not be leadership. And no,
I make you point. I'm not Benjamin Opoku sending message. I say Professor Jane, no pocket my car, same way, okay, the language.
Because leadership and equity. And the person say Kanye, for example, a prof can be said Rollins, for example, by or you're not going to say Obekunkum and Penifobia fee said, Oma Momu Bray, but and watch no on one mono, Okunkum Womono, or Bob the Bray, yes, sir. Corruption and Obekunkum Nipan, it me free all. These are some of the questions. Attitude, I know person will change it. Mindset, I know person will change it. Any attitude not change that. But for can one seminal. Any penny at 2 of mine, no. Yes, you hear attitude not change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, that's moral a revolution or morality.
Yeah, attitude not change now. I see what you mean? Yeah, what physical revolution killing people near the other. That moral revolution and center banning nipa. It me going and support pa. Initially, nipa be support.
But I don't know why. I feel
and the attitude corona and the now mind and the Bob Bra or no the penny for editing Norman nim. And you know, a Sikana no sabe more this time. As said your Bekunkumamu crowd.
You what I mamma I say no be so a point now problem making and no one else will make it mamma I say attitude because you come here cry. You see a suba money no. Even with the gun, we still didn't change. And I'm going to say nipa bone for. Yeah, nipa bone for because you see, about LGBT everybody is holy. We are all fighting it. About corruption, yes, it can. Yeah, I cotton sorry, them cotton mosque. No, yeah, yes, can buy a bab we say it differently. You know, that's why people are saying all that. Brasam, good evening.
Mr. Fia, good evening.
Obiajo.
Yeah, that's not my power, but more mine.
Yeah, that's
this if ya Ghana oh Ghana sevi yesu no eno na o Bible on say we always blame always said the emra oba no kodi aduaba no nyankopon bi o say eye owo no omo accept so omo ye bone enna ma Ghana sevi ye leaders they always ana abrofo this if ya abrofo enti save you go do omuja yi o obo ase no do sen assassin nya no motam koye o man tam assassin nyina nko do no muja de ma yen kotoa no mbefa koye no o matim da kwachichiri omukro no amana yi ye da so ti up to now ye da so blemu abrofo ana ye mpenifo nya o madwen say omo edge omo enfom so atum say e wo so omo chichiri oman no they always blame we be shifti blame we na shifta blame nti de bia ma oman no ye da so ejina faako mpenifo kura kaka be say yes de mu adi no omuni man nko de aka ne mo ho ban nti de kaye na abrofo nja ma ye no bambo be ne de to ho a enne ye de emra e hye ye kon because ya mo ye bre yi enene ababeto ye no na sevi ubeta be kache UAE government ana kata ana oma say omo nji sa no ma wentum ensi because ono onsole mfa na de emesrew umu okra na wo fa na cho se wo mra because ono woni sika enu na ye se mpinifo ne se ye besre sa blame da bia na abrofo no ana be fa yisika koye ana be chichi na nam koye ana ma ye ho kire ye yesre wo mo eye ene ye 21st century ene ye 21st century omun chai sa asem ne kana omun sha se so be chichire oman no
okay
na emwa ye because ene ewiase be bi obi a chichire ne man China mu nyina ne UAE first na nka ohwe UAE no ma bi a na enkoye ba ene no omo anko shiti brema mo obi se obi na yesu bi na yesi omo ankasa class hu se si na osi enge e ma dachi ye chima heden amebre eno mo mle nti e be sre mpanifo no ye sre wo blame na ye yie da bia we na ye no ye sre wo mo me da se
Brasa mama na wase bebe nyakopo sha over bright good evening.
Good evening, if you are enjoying the same.
Adumo penny.
Very good. We there a chief worker sapa na AMNJ. A bill no asem no LGBTQ plus no. Bibi say yes a ban sign to okra na say one when this ukra na a bit me di hu kakra ba na sa in someone na ba koso no akofom kakra. Na den so ara Air Force for our fight is a war bay. What banner say a woman run over, over force a woman I juma. Oh, Sisi and I know do all say Ghana will be a war bruchino say or ya. Why don't you come to Ghana? Also, Dentina umba Ghana na umba some na Bibian Kodo. In yeda and Crawfordia, why been over Ghana. Do na ya try so urema and ye. You remember because Ubakro bisa there daba na abasana call, which means there even one power. Into no say kada ubi Ghana na wa ya a population do he na what wa wetin wa ye. Prof national bakan dey. According to Nebia, I'm on so oba Ghana ni ndem bi asesa ma wetu metu na mo akwanim. Ntino South Ghana yi na ye fi Ghana nye de Ghana no ohoye ntine ye fi ho ye ba ne ye be nse na me pi ho a e kodo obi man no ase ye so ye ba ne ye bebo a ke betuma nso ba akwanja ne no homo ntino ye srese se ye kase ye leadership na e no krankoto because Susanna mini bi be example say so wonam na se cross ni gina ho traffic light as wonim da wotwema on ba chiro. But I know that say obi reyard born in as a bano unse sonoma or there who fetch you could be done bribe some no corruption no we jan many panoco because punishment be no mind. Ebia yena yeba ye tutu to kwa no ya brabo Ghana na ebia basa so yeba ni mrana wa na force nyama eno we straight now. Yeah, no, I didn't. Mbrano wo a ebetuma force obi amu nti no na fi nso no mesre se aya na was ye kada obu ha de no ye bi de no so ra na o kasa yi okay no credam nanso say ye man krofo bi kwan na wontu anamo bi man na so wontumi ye ma ye hwehwe a then osian kwan na ye ntumi kada onfi wono bi sumra because ye kada third force fui obi mbra ono so ba na obaye no anye ne yi a chi etu bi ni fo ya na ye no nsuo nti oda wo ma ho kwan no ye da o na ban no de ntina wo bre ma ban na ade I no cry because punishment be no ho ma bia nti wo ma ho kwan na ye nka na ye nsesa ban na afoforo mbra na ye to hon so hwe enya ye be nyu afo ya no mbai ti esra wona ma won ye ne gidigidi dam na ye LGBT obi sheri dem no re na ada ti obi hu je wo se wo pass law no o di show dem na ye but man fan ba bonten
but what you so dem what you so dem
ane do na yin me da se bebre
I right ma me was papa that's them that right na ode eba prof was na Kofi Kwante also by the time na ask me and we are more than even 1 hour because nam person obi aka ne bo so asem na bibia efi ne kuma so 67 years of independence ye dey ni nti number 1 your leadership can number 2 yeah also can it's a two-pronged thing. You be blaming leaders. Effective leadership here. Leader or boss or kudro, but the people must support our leaders. By a sign, the Kofi Kwante general, he said, "Krobia so maybe mononipana so you will never get a followership or me 100%. But I mean, a program. I mean, I suppose quarting or try a provost or any part one thing. I'm mobile attacking with Jano. Before crowd be your PhD as our professor only bra bebre. Nwa we kan. Wo konkra ye be o ya wo be ye kwa no nya spinal problem. Enye easy crowd this year obesia. So it takes a lot. But the problem omo cry no my frustrated. So omo kasa kra politicians don't listen to them. In this how be attack your man omo ya because omo GS Gracia no you are not even attacking them. Mushi omo no ko this kan yes amasa. But mo be nya professors na nam de omo asem so they don't get anything. The umbenye bi ayo mu papers ni ade omo tra nkofo most of nkofo mutua professors nkakra ya agofo they pay them for their research. Ghana na kaza unza na no omo demonstration for research allowance. Ghana kra yentua research allowance e kada ho aban kra ntua e Kofi Kwante mame na wasi Kofi Kwante is one person who him say oka so person odi president he's been very consistent asem ya kan ba followership bi oma ya so omo discover that Kofi Kwante also still ojina na so trying to do his best at the end of the day mo Ghana for no mo beto amano no mo kwaji 200 Ghana cedis ni 100 Ghana when this ni MPP o mo wi am so o wi ni eto jemola nyesa mo be free program so till the kingdom come a complaining let's try a third force and see ya try NDC 16 years MPP 16 years mo ma yen try another person here check so mine be change na what you say enti that is why they be ankofo bebe person mo de Kofi Kwante beba I bring him because o adwene bi dan tim onipa no oni akoma pa obi ama ne wagya na adwuma papa bi wo abrochire o ana wa betina Ghana odua banche sport banche on kasenti mo fo se na ode na waye na de na waye Ghana na nkasa yeso ye ka ho abusia fo efesia na me da mo sinya bra prince mehu ba na wa man temti me so ye adwuma next week why next week ye adwuma next week yakopon ye adwuma abusia fo ma me na mo nyina mo ase na ma mo nyina mo se na mo join ye aseda ko ma me producers a mo boa ye nyina na highlight radio King Jersey radio me got you FM ne highlight radio ne King Jersey Adamfopa media and Naspa radio na your friend vim lady Efia Pokia
Colonial Africa until now.
The Gold Coast was renamed Ghana with a parliamentary system modelled on Westminster. Committing themselves to civil rights, the new government put up a huge commemorative arch.
Here, but a handful of years ago, men laid down their lives for a cause that was not yet won.
We are going to stand in front of the place. We are not entering. So you are lying inside the place. This is a public road. This is a public road. You know that. It's a public road. You have no instructions to stop MPs from doing their job. Ordinary thing. You know we can search it, but they're not allowed to use this street. You know that. It's not in Parliament. Yes. We drive past here every day. We are not going to the we are going to the When can